Coming to you live here from Angul. Angul is a town, municipality, and the headquarters of Angul district in the state of Odisha, India. Angul has an average elevation of 195 meters above sea level. That's pretty tall. That's pretty big. We're here today with ESL Open Cup Asia, nope, that's the wrong way. Asia division and number 236. I'm, of course, a fun fact: 2 times 3 equals 6. No, wait, 2. Yes, 2 times 3 equals 6. I am, of course, your host, Yakuzaku, and with me today we have El Cori de Cordero que hace pasta a toda prisa, Light _ VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly dose of Korean StarCraft as we have returned with our first match of the night. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. And happy. We're just jumping on in.
Yeah, we're just going to be jumping on in. Very lot to choose from for our first round matches this week. A lot of players very excited to just jump in immediately. But thankfully, we were able to hop on one of these series, which I think is looking pretty spicy. We're kicking it off here on Amphion, where we're here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Gaimin Gladiators. He do be gaming. We have Shin.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Blacklist International. It is Creator.
Okay.
Here we go. So as you mentioned, the bracket is pretty stacked, and we can delve into the bracket at a later time once we wrap up with this series. But yeah, I think the most important thing right now, though, is I believe at the moment these ESL weeklies do not actually award EPT points. EPT points has closed, so we've kind of maxed out on how much we can get. So we have finalized the standings. I think we even saw the bracket or the group stage announced recently.
Yeah. Released. Yeah, can confirm. Yeah, everything is all set and done. The next season of the ESL Pro Tour, or the Road to the Esports World Cup, what is it called now officially? It's like, is it Road to the World Cup, or is it still ESL Pro Tour? I'm gonna have to double check that later down the line. But yeah, anyway, the next season for the World Championship, with whatever it's called, hasn't begun yet, so everything's been finalized. No points are going to be distributed whatsoever, but it's still a little bit of money on the line. You know, the top 2 still do get paid off, and of course, we do have quite a lot of. There is a lot of practice to be had here.
Yeah.
In the ESL Open Cups, it's a little bit more of a, I don't want to say formal setting, but it's a bit more of a, it's a best of. You get more best of series instead of just best of one. Instead of just best of ones on ladder or custom games.
Yes, exactly. I mean, obviously there's money on the line as well. There's that prize money, which is quite hefty here for the ESL Open Cups. But from what I've been gathering, especially watching Classic, for example, these past couple of weeks, is that it does feel like players right now are refining builds. They're like refining builds, they're refining their play. They're really getting ready and securing themselves for the Esports World Cup, because again, that is the biggest event of the year, and there's lots of prize money on the line for EWC.
Oh yeah. I think somebody actually did the math, and per person, it's for the first time in a very long time, I think the per player payouts here at Esports World Cup is actually higher than the MOBA tournaments. Obviously, they have an overall larger prize pool, but again, per player, it's the distribution is a little bit different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is quite different and quite intense. So wish them all the best of luck in the upcoming month of StarCraft, as I believe it's going to be next month. So it's really kind of sneaking up on us quite quickly here. And yeah, we'll see kind of the form of our players as do come into it. For the time being, we do have pretty standard openers. It was a Stargate opener from Creator getting to a third base. Likewise, Shin did actually mine through these middle patches and is taking the expansion on the left-hand side. Interesting base location from Shin. It's going to be quite secure, and we'll see if Creator can try to punish it. For now, just coming in with the Oracle and looking some drone kills. Oh.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get a couple, but unfortunately for him, the Oracle is going to be chased away. This is a little bit more of a more secure location to get your third base, but I have to wonder how much that is mitigated when you're playing against a Protoss opponent, because obviously, aside from these Oracles, you also have Blink potential, you have quite a lot.
Yeah.
There are ways for Protoss to traverse the mineral wall.
There are ways. So for the time being, we do see that we do have our Adepts and our initial Oracle going to be threatening a shade here. We still have yet to mine through those middle patches, but we are threatening the third base nonetheless. From here, we do see Creator just getting into the rest of his setup. We have a Twilight Council Forge follow-up, additional Oracles as well. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy here from Creator, not yet.
Yeah, everything's looking very typical for a Protoss player in the PvZ right now. Forge +1 and Blink is on the way, so pretty soon we're going to be seeing Creator gearing up for one of two things, either a bit of a timing attack with these Stalkers, or he's going to hang back a little while and wait until he can actually get his Templar Archives and Archon production on the run.
Yeah, we shall see, as for now it is going to be that +1 Blink. The Oracles, they've gotten some damage done so far, just 2 drone kills, nothing too major. Shin has been able to keep up with the Oracles, has minimized losses for the time being, but Creator is still kind of ramping up here with his own army, with his own timing, and also starts potential with these Oracles.
Yeah, he's actually getting quite a lot done with them. So far, he's taken out, okay, not that many drones, but 15 links have been shaved off. He's been able to clean up a lot of creep tumors. And of course, it's keeping Shin on his side of the map, which is the most important thing that these Oracles can do right now in this stage of a PvZ.
Yeah, exactly, as we do see the Oracle still gaining value, picking off a Ling after Ling. Likewise, Shin is going to be embracing a more Roach heavy style. I mean, Roach is initially, but the Hydrogen has been thrown down, so we're thinking of Hydra Tech and of Lurker Tech already. It's going to be on the horizon for Shin. We have seen some players try to embrace Mutas on this map, and Mutas can be quite effective, but we can see that Shin, he's avoiding that for the time being.
Yeah, and I can't say I blame him, especially against a player like Creator, who is known for being able to just really shut down, harass like Mutas, just really, really good positional awareness in the PvC matchup.
Oh yeah, has been doing quite well for himself, especially positionally, as you were saying, and we do see Shin keeping up so far with the initial Stalker aggression. Creator, he's expanding. He's just taking up 4th base, and he's taking up as well. That's going to be a 2nd robot. That's going to be a Bay. Creator, he's just building up and ramping up towards the mid-game here, just applying some light pressure, but nothing too major. Both players just kind of gearing up towards a longer game.
Yeah, we're just going to be chilling for a little while until we get to our next stage, which is going to be approaching pretty rapidly as the Infestation Pit is about to finish up here for Shin. Creator, okay, I'm kind of disappointed in myself, Light, for forgetting about this, but yeah, I was kind of expecting Creator to go for a Templar Archives to start getting into his Archon and High Templar production and Storms, but yeah, it kind of slipped my mind that Creator is in fact a Robo Boy. He's been very known for preferring Disruptors in all 3 matchups. Disruptors and Colossus.
Yeah. When it comes to Creator's playstyle in general, I always kind of attribute him to almost like the Korean Showtime. Not quite Showtime-esque, but the closest you can get in Korea, where he's just very macro-oriented, especially in PvZ in this matchup. And you can see that that's where we're headed. We're taking up into Colossus, Disruptors, but the first army has right. We're going straight for the 4th base, and we zone Creator out of his own base.
Yeah, this base is going to have to be forfeit at this point. Stasis Wards, unfortunately, did not quite get enough units in Stasis. So Creator will be feeling that pretty hefty loss. Disruptor and Colossus pops out, but a little too late.
Yeah, exactly, as you do see, Nova going to be going off. Nice force field, does catch some of these Hydras and Roaches, not bad. But as you mentioned, 4th base. 4th base did go down with that. Creator is going to be contained to 3 bases that much longer. Shin, he's taking up. We are not just running, not just taking another base, we are getting into Hive Tech.
Oh yeah, Shin, he wants those Lurker upgrades as soon as he can get them.
Oh yeah, as Creator's working towards, this robust robo army, Shin likewise rushing into Hydra, Lurker, Viper, as Vipers are also going to be coming into play to help deal with those Disruptors and those Colossus. But it looks like before the Vipers can really pop out, Creator may have a bit of a window where he can push in.
Yeah, and he's looking to. He's been able to get out his Disruptors. He's been able to get one Colossus over here, so he's got a very potent army at this stage of the game. In fact, his army is larger than Shin's, which is terrifying to think about from the point of view of a Zerg player in a ZVP.
Oh yeah, this is a terrifying Protoss army, but we're pushing into a concave of Lurkers. Only 4 Lurkers, not that many to be honest, so we'll see if we can break through. The first Disruptor is going to be sniped.
Up. Like so, nicely done. That poor Lurker. It was undetected, but it was also under a whole bunch of roaches, so yeah, it ended up going down anyway in those Purification Novas, so yeah, not too many Lurkers for Shin to really work with, and they are still vanilla Lurkers for the time being. He's about to get Size 6 Spines though, and that's gonna make him have a much more effective defense with them.
Yeah, but how many Lurkers will we have left? Another Lurker gets sniped, never going to be going off, and does shave off more of these roaches. Creator is gaining ground across the map. The link round by was cleaned up. Creator is safe and sound. And we can see that Shin, he's up against the wall right now, morphing in as many Lurkers as he can. He's up to 6 Lurkers now, and we'll see if he can hold on.
Yeah, these revelations are going to come in just in time. That pathing on those Stalkers is a little bit awkward, not going to lie, but Purification Novas are able to land on a bunch of roaches. Lings are starting to really gain ground though, and they are getting on top of Disruptors. Creator has been nailing these Novas over and over and over again, but now Shin's looking to break 3. Nope! The Immortals come back, and they do secure the foothold here for Creator.
Yeah, the reinforcements have arrived. It looks like Creator had them back at home just to defend against the link run buys. Now they've been dealt with, we can focus on the main push, and Shin, he's not out of the woods yet, has been bleeding out Lurker after Lurker, down to 5 Lurkers.
Yeah, but they are undetected for now. The Blinding Cloud going to be helping out a ton. Lurkers are able to get more volleys, and the yoinks on top of these robo units is absolutely massive here for Shin. We see a huge fall in the army supply of Creator.
Yeah, I mean, that was brutal. Looking at the trades here, Creator, he lost his Colossus, he lost 4 Disruptors, lost the Immortals as well, and now he has to back off. Without those power units, without those Robo Boys, we just cannot hold our own, and Shin, he holds.
Yeah, now things are starting to really get worrisome for Creator, because he traded decently up until the end there, but the economy of Shin has still gone completely untouched. Now he even has his hybrid base, and we can see that reflected in the supplies right now. Shin is pretty close to maxing out, but Creator is far from it.
Exactly. Shin, he weathered the storm, and now he's ready to turn the tables here on a Creator. Once this Prism is dealt with, and we have Vipers to Parasitic Bomb or even Abduct, then we can start moving out across the map. And back at him, Creator, he's just not ready. Not anymore. He needs more time to at least build up the Immortals.
Poor Prism. Kite it directly into a queen, and regardless, it was getting Parabomb down. And that is popping up in the main base of Creator, and there's nothing in position to defend.
Yeah, Storm is on the way, but it might even be denied here as the Lurkers. They do get within range. They do burrow here on top of the production, and the Temple Archives is going to be focused down.
No! Ah, so close! So close. But no cigar. Yeah, this is looking unstoppable right now for Shin. He has the high ground. He has so many Lurkers burrowed on top of his choke point. Immortals is starting to fall, and once they're gone, the rest of the Protoss army is just easy pickings. GG is called, and Shin continue game number 1.
GG, well played, Shin. Snowballing out of control towards the end there, but what I will say is that was not an easy game by Shin whatsoever. Things came down to the wire, I should say, and did barely hold on, and after the hold, that's when Shin got into his final form.
Yeah, it really was. Although, commendable to Shin as well, though. It was a very tight hold coming from him. It was a very desperate defense coming out, but while all that was going on, he was still expanding. He was still going to get that hybrid base.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so okay. Okay, we're good. Yeah. Very. Where was I? Basically, what I'm trying to get at is a little bit of tunnel vision coming out here from Creator in that push. He was focusing a lot on that push, which understandably, that was probably his best path to victory there, was if he was able to break Shin then and there, and then proceed and continue to roll through him. But after a certain point, it did really feel like he was hanging back a little too long. He wasn't he wasn't being as aggressive as he could have been, and Shin was well aware of that. He knew that Creator was just focusing entirely on that position, so he expanded elsewhere.
Oh yeah, now here we go. We're getting his game number 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner, leading the series 1-0. We have our South Korean Zurich player representing Gaimin Gladiators. It is Shin.
And over here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Blacklist International. BLI. Yeah, this worked very well. We have Creator.
Okay. And yeah, when it came to that last game, I mean, Creator, he was doing well for himself. He was gaining ground. He was picking up lurkers. But as kind of you were alluding to, unfortunately, like, as time was going on, like, we were on a bit of a timer, right? By the time the Vipers arrived, that's when things very quickly swung in favor of Shin, where now he had an answer to snipe those Colossus and snipe the Immortals and the Disruptors, where he could abduct and shut them down. So it did feel like either Creator overstayed his welcome, or, you know, he missed his timing, right? Like, he missed his, like...
or both.
Yeah. where he missed the window where he could kill his opponent, and once we realized that that window has come and gone, that we have to like back off and retreat a little bit and respect the Vipers, you know.
Yeah, we never want to underestimate them, especially when you don't have High Templar feedback, you know.
Yeah, it did feel like that High Templar transition was just a little too late for Creator, but now we're getting and settling into game number 2 into a much different map, a much smaller map.
Yeah, a map that we've seen a lot of PvZs on. And I feel like I have brain rot at this point, because every time I see a PvZ on Ghost River, I'm following a probe because I expect it to throw down a gateway in the middle of the map. I have that hero brain rot.
Yeah. I don't blame you. You know, we have experienced a lot of hero on this map. True. I think what's interesting is that you feel that even though we haven't casted hero in a while, because because he has been intentionally not playing in tournaments in the lead up to EWC, but like he's left an impression.
Oh yeah. You can feel that something is off in ESL Open Cup even before you realize what it is.
There you go. We're missing that hero, and we don't quite go for the proxy in the center of the map, but Creator is not opening up Stargate.
Interesting. So there's a Twilight Council first coming out from Creator. And this can go multiple ways right now. We're gonna wait to see. We're going to look at the production tab to keep our eyes peeled on how many more gateways we see, and potentially if we see a forge as well. Because this is either going to be Glaives, or it's going to be Blink. Or it's going to be DTs!
Oh, let's go! It is going to be a Dark Shrine opener here out of Creator, porque no los dos, so why not just embrace the chaos here on Ghost River. Now, with the DT opener, this can end the game. It can catch a Zerg player off guard, and it can also nicely follow up here, of course, with an Archon drop follow-up as well. So Creator has layers to this aggression, and it's on Shin to figure out what the hell is going on.
Indeed it is. Shin, on the other hand, going to be opting for a bit of an earlier safety Roach Warren, which is a pretty good unit, especially against Archons if we do eventually transition there, but yeah, he hasn't quite gone into the main base of Creator. He doesn't really know what's coming his way.
Yeah, but
thankfully he does have a couple of safety spores.
Yeah, he's playing out very safely. He doesn't know exactly what's going on, but as you mentioned, we have spores ready for DTs, we have the Roach Warren ready for Adepts, so whether it's Glaive Adepts or Dark Templar, Shin, he's just covering his bases, he's not taking any chances. Except...
no. I try to find the one like weak spot of Shin right now, and yeah, that's not really an obvious one to be found. I mean, maybe if he's a little bit slow on body blocking, you know, Creator could take out a spore crawler with his CTs, but yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, the Queens are in position, the Lings are ready as well, the DTs are fended off, and Shin does defend. But as we mentioned, it isn't just about the Dark Templar getting damage done. They can always morph into Archons, but Shin, he is on top of them. Again, if there's ever an Archon morph, he is ready to try and deny them. Alas, one Archon being morphed in, and soon we'll have the second.
Yeah, I really like this move here from Creator, where he only morphs one Archon in at a time. That way he still has DTs to protect.
Yeah, just really safe play there out of Creator. Really nice moves. Does come with the Archons. It looks like he will catch an Overlord. No Transfuse available, so nice little pick off to kick things off, and we can also gain more value. Pick off Lings, maybe drones. Creator as he's getting ready for that next step.
Yeah, Immortal's on the way. We're transitioning into Charged on Archon with Immortal support. Very potent build here, a very potent unit composition in PvZ, particularly when you're up against roaches and when you're up against lings.
Oh yeah, we are getting into that kind of next wave, into that next step for Creator. Still just shaving off Lings here and there, still just trading as best he can. Roaches are in position though, and Shin will protect his third base at least. Behind this, Baliness is on the way, so Shin is building up towards Ling Bane Roach Ravager, a pretty robust army composition, and Shin is droning. I was keeping an eye on Shin to see if he would try to like go for some kind of 3-base all-in or anything like that, but Shin is working on upgrades and building up.
Like so. Yeah, kind of surprised that Shin, who kind of has a reputation for being a bit of a trickier player, is gonna hang back and macro up on a map that really really lends itself really well to rush play. But yeah, I guess that's Shin for you, and he always keeps us guessing.
Yeah, it keeps you on his toes, on your toes, Pat. On his toes even. Whose toes?
He tiptoes.
Yeah. So he is just building up towards that. Meanwhile, Archon drop once again heading towards the natural base. When it comes to Creator, I believe we have a bit of a gateway explosion. Yes, we are getting up to 8 gateways on 3 bases. No 4th base yet. I would expect to see a 4th base by now, which means Creator is building up towards what looks to be a push with Immortals, Sentries, Charge Dots, and our Archons.
Oh yeah. I'll see how effective this is going to be for Creator. You know, he really impressed us, I think, in the previous game with his force field play, and I think in general Creator has one of the best. Again, Creator doesn't necessarily have the best control out of the Protoss players, but he definitely has really good positioning, and he really knows how to manipulate the map to his advantage. It's a little bit trickier though when your army composition is going to be comprised mostly of Archons that can break force fields and Zealots, which are hindered by force fields.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with how you maneuver the army, as you did mention. Shin is ready for a Baleen counterattack, but at the same time, Creator, he is pretty committed and pretty all-in with this. As we said, no 4th base, right? It's just a 3-base all-in here by Creator, very committed. Shin, he checks for the 4th, and he's going straight for the middle line. Up!
And now Creator is even... actually... He is even more all-in, but definitely could have been worse. That was a pretty good force field block there from Creator. Now we'll see if his push can actually break Shin right now.
Yeah, exactly. As we're warping in 6 Zealots at a time. We have 8 gateways up and running. The Immortals nice spread here so far by Creator, and he's pushing in even further. Meanwhile, across the map, 11 more probes went down. He lost all the workers at the mineral line.
Oh, where we're going, we don't need no probes. Banelings are starting to fall to the Archons. Force fields once again going to be pushing all of these roaches into a corner. Creator is fighting into a bit of a concave, but he still has a very beefy army behind all of this. And with the Zealot reinforcements being warped in, it looks like he is barely going to be breaking through.
Yeah,
sometimes barely is enough.
Exactly, as we only have Ravagers, no Lings remaining, no Ling Bane, barely any Roaches whatsoever. It looks like Creator has done it. He's broken through the defensive line. The drones have gone down, the base has gone down, and as I say that, reinforcements are on the way. If Shin can buy a little bit more time for an extra wave of Roaches, he can hold.
Yeah, if he doesn't lose his standing army and he can regroup them with his reinforcements, he's going to be fine. Here comes the surround of roaches. No Zealots to buffer for the Immortals yet. Warpin does come into play, and it's going to be chasing this little roach horse into a corner.
Yeah, this is our army. We're down to one Immortal. One Immortal, a couple of Zealots. A couple more Zealots are on the way, though. It looks like with the tide of Zealots, it looks like we have enough to overwhelm the reinforcements of Shin. It looks like this base is going to be going down.
Yeah, losing those 11 workers or killing those 11 workers was not going to be enough here. GG is called. Creator going to be taking game number 2 with a very potent 3-base all-in.
Whew, GG, well played. A very, very close game there, and in the end it went down to the wire. Whew, Creator was completely all in, but barely had enough to break through and kill Shin. Towards the end there, he had one immortal left, one immortal standing, and of course, the Zealots.
Oh yeah, it was all about those Zealots in the end there. Charge lots, they do pretty well against Roaches, especially Roaches in low numbers, especially if you can get a surround on top of them. And Creator did lose a lot of his workers initially before that fight began, but he didn't lose enough, or he kept enough of his workers alive that he was still able to warp in 6 Zealots at a time. Every time those gateways refreshed, he was able to just get another round in because he was still mining enough.
Yeah. He was still able to maintain at least Zealot reinforcements, and hey, it's just minerals, it's just minerals there for Creator. He could still sustain himself, still sustain the all-in, and with that, we're going all the way to the ace match.
Here we go. This is what we wanted. This is what I think most of us expected as well, and so I'm glad that nobody's going to be leaving here in this series disappointed. Speaking of which, we're going to be concluding it now on Dynasty. I'm liking it. I'm liking that we've played out all 3 maps, and none of them are Oceanborn, Sight Delta, Golden Aura, or Alcyone. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Here we have in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way to the top right, we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing that team, Gaimin Gladiators. He do be gaming. We have Shin.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Blacklist International. It is a Creator.
Shin now doing Zerg things on Dynasty.
Yeah, we do dip in. We do confirm, of course, that we are taking the goal base on the other side. This is the most kind of standard thing. Oh, we're kind of rushing. I was going to say, this is the most standard build that we've seen on Dynasty. This has been the go-to. Basically, whenever we see a ZVP on Dynasty, it's the setup for an all-in. You take the goal base here on this side of the map, so you can take advantage of the gold minerals, of the rich testing gas geyser, and go for a roach all-in. But Creator, he's here to punish this.
Yeah, well, he's going to try to, as we do have drones now being main arted over. One good surround is all it really takes to shut down this cannon rush.
Yeah, as the drones have arrived, and they're going to try and delay the cannon for as long as possible. Cannon has been thrown down, and now the spawning pool is still not yet done. This base is going to be under fire as cannons are on the way. Oh.
That they are, but we'll see if they can actually get up and running. Nice little bit of mineral walking here from Creator, and now the Zealot is here to chase away the drones. Is it going to be enough?
Is it going to be enough here as we do get a surround? The Zealot is going to get surrounded. It's going to get shut down. One drone will fall. Cannon is going to be finishing up, but the Lynx have arrived just in time to shut that cannon down.
Yeah. Its cannon rush has not paid off for Creator at all.
Yeah, we denied mining time, that is true, but there won't be any cannons. The base will get up and running, and this has delayed everything else. It delayed the expansion, delayed the cybercore, delayed all the tech, and as you mentioned, this was not quite worth it for Creator.
Not at all. And where do we go from here as the Protoss player? Because Creator definitely giving up map control. He's going to have to hang back and just kind of turtle up until he has a decent army out in the map. Thankfully, we are on Dynasty, so obviously Creator does have that pocket base that he can take advantage of. But we also know that Shin is going to be just zooming forward in terms of his tech. He's going to hit all of his tech milestones much quicker than Creator will.
Yeah, Shin, he is going to skyrocket ahead here with this base, with the gas income, with the mineral income as well, and it doesn't bode well for Creator just because of how late his tech structure is going to be. I'm referring specifically to the Stargate or the Twilight Council, whichever we go for, was heavily delayed here, and As a result, Shin is going to be that much more comfortable. We're taking a third base, we're droning up, and I'm waiting to see what Shin decides to go for. Do we go for a fast Lair? Do we go for a fast Roach Warren? I'm curious, as the timing's going to be a little bit off here after the early game.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that production tab. That's a Roach Warren popping out, so most likely it is going to be a little bit of a cheeky Roach push, but I'm not going to lie, like, he took the Rich Vespine gas, he's taken another gas in his main. I'm holding out for Mutas.
So as soon as you mentioned the gas, I was like, he wants that Mota, man. He wants the Mota. I mean, I don't blame you. But Roaches should be on the horizon here for Shin. We'll see if we go for a hatch-based all-in or if we go for something a little bit different. I would have expected to have seen a Lair by now, but there is still no Lair from Shin. So there we go. He's just producing as many Roaches as he can. Ling's already moving out across the map, trying to get a read on what's going on, trying to get a feel for what the setup is looking like for Creator. Oh!
And he will confirm that Creator is playing very defensively. It's a little bit of a risk sending your sentries and stalker out in the middle of the map this much. There's a little bit of a risk of getting surrounded by these Lings, but Creator, yeah, is on top of things, does retreat, and doesn't lose anything yet.
Yes, and there is the Lair now on the way for Creator, for Shin, so is working towards a Lair that's going to be for Roach Speed, that could even be for Overlord Speed and something like a bit of a German taxi. I say that, but still no Overlord Speed being researched here by Shin, so it looks like he's just committing to Ling Roach Ravager.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff coming out from Shin, and probably the best response after the openings that we've gotten. Shin, he's well aware that Creator is behind. He knows that if he gives Creator enough time to come back in this game, he would kind of be giving up his early game advantage, so he might as well go for a timing out like this while Creator's at his weakest.
Yeah, so we go. The Ravagers have arrived. They're going to be piling down the first cannon. Cannon does go down, and we have more Roaches on the way. Shin is committing here to the push. Alas, the SimCity working against him here, so Creator's going to be able to hold the line, but the tech is exposed.
Yeah, tech is very exposed. Gateways go down, so less production. Cybercore goes down, so no more Stalkers are going to be able to be warped in.
Yeah, and with that, the boys are being pulled. The Artosis pylon standing strong here. Plus one about to finish in 10 seconds with the Lings that keep flooding in. And it looks like with the overcharge, we can barely hold on.
Just barely. Lings are going to be slipping into the main base, though, and Creator's going to be losing even more of his workers.
It's going to be 10 probes going down. The gold base is getting up and running. Shin does confirm the gold, and now he can respond with his Roach Ravager to deny any kind of mining here to shut down this base, and still flooding more Ling Roach across the map. Shin did saturate his natural, so we're at 2 base saturation. We do have the Lair, we have Roach Speed on the way, but Shin can now focus on his army.
Like so. Yeah, this gold base is not going to be utilized for quite some time.
Yeah, the Ravagers are here. They're going to be laying siege upon the Nexus itself with those biles. At the same time, we can see that Creator's going to be rotating over to try and deal with this, but the army's ready for him.
Yeah, and this is exactly where Shin wants to fight. In the middle of the map where there are no shield batteries. It's a little bit of a bait, and the unfortunate thing for Creator right now is that he just doesn't have enough of an army to split up his forces, to defend this gold base and his natural base at the same time.
Exactly. We'll rotate around, and now he's going to be able to defend the gold, but it is so very low here. Another wave or two of biles is going to be enough to bring it down, and as Shin sees the army positioning, we just ignore it. We just rotate over instead towards that natural. We even force the overcharge.
Yeah, and that might have been a little misguided, as now there's no overcharge available in this natural base. The buildings were not rebuilt, the SimCity is not here to help out, and Shin is overwhelming.
Yeah, that overcharge bait was just a little bit too brutal. Likewise, Stalkers, they just got here in time after the initial army has crumbled, and now Shin is going for the kill, he's going for the third. Stalkers, they're microing their hearts out, but again, without a shield battery, without any side defense, how can we hold?
We can pull the boys.
True.
Boys have been pulled, but boys have been killed as well, so...
yeah,
the Creator might be able to hold against this push, but his economy is in the gutter.
Yeah.
He's alive, but he's not thriving.
Exactly, and at the same time, we still deny any kind of mining time here at the goal base. So Creator, he's on one base economy. We can see the army rotating around. Creator is going to force this back. I mean, hey, +2 is about to kick in for these Stalkers. The Stalkers themselves can hold on. They can definitely maintain themselves, but Creator is pretty all in.
I want to believe in the control.
The control can be good, but can it be that good? As Shin, he's backing off, he's just rebuilding, remaxing. You can see that Shin is not droning up, still on 47 workers. That's all he does need, especially with the goal base, with the restressing gas guys. Are like, we don't really need that many workers to sustain an all-in, and Shin is getting ready for the next wave.
Like so, and yeah, once again, Creator is just weaker than he was during the last push. Sure, he's got +2 now, but he's got no shield batteries, he's got fewer production buildings, he has less of an income to continue warping in reinforcements. It's looking rough.
Yeah, and with this push, with this army, Shin, he can actually go for the Nexus itself. It's still very low from earlier. The Wilds, they will be connecting, and the base is getting so low. At the same time, he hits that mineral line as well, does distract at the third base, and with the Wilds, the base, it's gonna fall. Oh my god, barely survives.
What is it about shield battery in this base? Yeah. Barely survives thanks to the battery overcharge, but yeah, not gonna be alive for maybe it lives. I mean, there's no mining, so can it really be considered alive?
Yeah, as the overcharge runs out, we do have the army rotating around, trying to just shut down this force of Shin. But one more wave of Biles, it's going to be enough. The Nexus finally goes down.
And with that, Creator, whose economy already was down for the who was already crippled economically, is just even. What's a level above that? Dead.
It's looking a little bit bleak here for Creator, because even though he may clean up this army and he's microing well with these Stalkers, he's trading as efficiently as possible, the reality is that behind this he just cannot sustain himself anymore. He cannot keep up with these losses, as Shin can just back off, take another, or just back off and rebuild as he has another base up and running.
Yeah, it's how the old saying goes, right? You can beat the army, but you can't beat math.
Who says that? Is that another Dennis quote?
It's a thing.
It's GG gets called, and Shin will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round.
GG. Nicely done here for Shin. A little bit of a rough game here for Creator. Definitely a rough start for him after the cannon rush kind of fell on its face. But yeah, he held on as long as he could have. But at that point, it really felt like Shin was not only ahead from the start, but he also very early on decided to capitalize on his advantage and just go for the throat. He knew that Creator was going to be at his weakest. If he allowed Creator to hang back and rebuild, then it wasn't going to be as... His army wasn't going to be as potent, or it wasn't going to be as easy of a fight, shall we put it that way, here for Shin. So, yeah, GG, congratulations to Shin.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations. And we have a lobby, by the way, as we are going to be joining another...
Is that our lobby?
Yes, that is our lobby, as we are going to be joining in. Trying to figure out where we are in this. Okay.
Yeah, my mistake.
Yeah, so Shin does advance on into the next round, into the quarterfinals, and is going to be facing off against the winner of our next series.
Yeah, Dark versus Trap. We're going to be figuring out who Shin's next opponent is going to be, and we do have confirmation Trap is actually up in the series right now, 1-0.
Okay, here we go. Again, we are jumping in mid-series. Unfortunately, we missed out on game 1, but we're here to find out who faces off against Shin in the quarterfinals.
Here we go. Here we go, as we spawn in on Site Delta, over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left. We, in fact, have our red Zerg player down 0-1 in this current best of 3 series. we have representing Talon Esports, it is Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Side Delta, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap. Go.
Okay, yeah. I was a little confused early on when I saw the lobby got posted. I was like, wait, are you telling me that they did their vetoes already? But then I remembered, oh wait, not every series ends at the same time.
Yeah, we have our next series ready for us. We're jumping into our second game, we're jumping mid-series into game number 2. We unfortunately don't really know what occurred in that first game, but you know, we will be able to embrace at least the finale of this series and see where it takes us.
Indeed, we shall. Hey, who knows? We might go all the way to the ace match here, which is actually what I would expect. You know, Trap, it cannot be overstated just how quickly he's been able to improve and get back into competitive form since he came back from the military. I know there's a term for it when you're officially discharged. It's not discharged from the military. I know there's a term for it, but I don't remember what it is. But yeah, Trap has been improving very, very rapidly at a pace that is quicker than I would say. At a pace that I think is quicker than what we saw from a lot of the other ex-military Koreans.
Yeah, exactly. It's been really impressive to see Trap improve at the rate that he has been. Likewise, not just Trap, I mean, Rogue has been popping off as well, and I mean, we can try to catch up with some of those matches later on. But yeah, for now, I mean, to be up in this series against Dark is very impressive, and I believe he has actually defeated Dark already in his return in the past. So yeah, it's been really impressive to see the growth of Trap.
Oh yeah. You know, the manifesting works. There he goes, you know, Gemini with his rituals.
True.
Dark rituals going on.
There you go. You know, when you've got Gemini behind you, anything is possible. And for now, we're just going to be settling in. It's going to be a Hatch Gas Pool Standard Opener out of Dark. Likewise, Trap going for a Stargate Opener himself. So nothing too wild in the early game. But really, I feel like our eyes are going to be on Dark here. He's been known for his more aggressive tendencies in ZVP. Not the most standard of players.
Not at all, no. As much as I feel like a lot of Zerg players would like for Dark's play to become the standard, you know, they look at it and they think, okay, this is something that, when you look at it on paper, doesn't seem that complicated, but somehow Dark is the only one who can make it work.
Yeah, exactly. As for the time being, we're just droning up. We have a handful of links to threaten the third base. Outside of that, we're even trying to catch the Stalker if at all possible. But the Oracle does race back home to deal with the Overlord to help support the Stalker as well. Dark is just going to be happily droning and will delay the third base.
Yeah, nice little start here from Dark, but Trap will, of course, get it up and running in the end. Trap, typically a player who does like to get to his 3 bases. He is a bit more macro-oriented. You know, he is on that kind of stats axis, from what I can recall. Our old math that we had to describe the tendencies of different Protoss players.
Yeah, despite that, are we looking to glaive it up here? There it is, the Fast Twilight Council before the third base was even halfway done, and we're rushing into glaive it ups in the follow-up. Now, we have seen Classic pop off. I don't know if you've been watching KSL or even last week's ESL Open Cup Asia. Classic is so far undefeated with this build, as he was able to 3-0 Dark with it and take down Solo 2-0. I think he took down Shin as well. Like, Classic has been popping off with this. It's disgusting.
I can hear the PTSD in your voice. The 2020, 2021
True.
PvZ meta. Early game meta, I should say, because the late game meta back then was completely different.
Yeah, and I'm concerned now for Dark because I don't know if you, I mean, you can see what I see. No Roach Warren. No Roach Warren. No Baneling Nest here. Only a lair is on the way. Baneling Nest now being thrown down, but this is going to be a tight hold here for Dark as he's relying on purely Lings for the time being.
It's not something that's... It's not something that you can really count on against these slaved adepts. In fact, that's exactly what adepts want to see that they're up against in a PvZ.
Yeah, and here we go. Trap is going to be sending everything across the map. Bailey Ness is halfway done, not quite ready yet. Queens can hold their own, and we are amassing Lings as we speak, but as you mentioned, Lings, they have a really hard time having any kind of sustain against this army. The Queens, though, they can buy some time.
They can, but even then they do start to get targeted down one after the other. Not a lot of energy on these Queens, so we got one transfuse, and now we're out, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, exactly. As we get into the mineral lines, drones are now going down. The main base has to be evacuated. That's already 8 workers falling, and the adepts are still standing strong. We shade in towards that natural bathing on the way. Up.
And if they do manage to get on top of these adepts, it can absolutely shut them down. Decent split coming out from Trap, but he will take a couple of connections too many by the looks of things. He's getting a lot of economic damage, 16 drones. That is absolutely massive, but I feel like Trap needs to do a little bit more to get a definitive advantage.
Yeah, this is good. This is already a mineral line worth of workers. Trap, he has a worker lead. He's ahead in the economy. He's working towards his eventual follow-up. It's going to be +1 and Blink, but we don't have any immortals. Interesting. That's a distinct difference here from what Trap is going for than Classic. Classic, he will go for Glaive Adepts into an immortal follow-up all in. Immortal production is now beginning, but I mean, I guess we don't need them as much because there were no roaches. True.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Trap did go into the main base of Dark, so I have to wonder how much of that is just because of the fact that he didn't scout a Roach Warren and he saw those Banelings being morphed in. Trap, he did the math. He knows that because of that, Dark cannot have a Roach Warren out just yet. So he can still get away without producing Immortals for now.
Yeah, exactly, as we do hit the field once again. Blink is yet to complete, but we have these Oracles to support these Stalkers, so even without Blink, we do have Sustain. Stage Trap's going to be thrown down behind this as well. Roach production has begun, and Dark is going to be able to hold his own for the time being. It's still recovering economically, but he will be able to hold at least against the next wave.
Yeah, Trap kind of poking and prodding around because he knows that he doesn't want to dive completely into a concave like that.
Yeah, as one Oracle is going to be going down. Trap backs up, just waiting for his Blink to finish up. Likewise, 4th base now being saturated. Dark does go for a wave of drones, but here comes Trap. He's getting ready for that next push.
Like so, Dark is looking pretty far ahead into the future. He's getting his Infestation Pit. He wants to get into his Hive Tech, but Trap, he's looking at the here and now, and he wants to end things.
Yeah, he makes his way through. He supply blocks Dark as well. What you see is what you get, as we have 6 Ravagers, 2 Roaches, 19 Lings, and nothing else as the base is gonna fall.
Nothing Dark can do about that. Roaches and Ravagers here on the high ground. It's a very good defensive setup here for Dark, but Trap is reinforcing. He's pulling back now, actually.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Trap can keep pushing. He's looking to get further ahead. He's taking a 4th base. He's taking up into Storm, taking up into +2. Trap is taking a bit of a more passive approach here after killing the 4th and taking a lead.
Yeah, Trap is playing things out safe, which is the smart choice, but not the correct choice.
Not Yaku's correct choice, as he would like it to be over, Papi. Pull the boys, is what Yaku says. But, you know, he backs off, and honestly, like, he still is able to maintain his lead here. Dark is double expanding, taking the southern base, so he's still in a 4-base economy, thankfully.
Yeah, so he can still keep this going. He can still tech up. His Hive's about halfway done, so we are going to be approaching Dark's final form pretty soon. A form which Trap was really hoping he wouldn't have had to face.
Yeah, as Dark is maxing out on Lingbane Roach Ravagers. Trap, though, coming in. Storm is done in 2 seconds, and we have High Templar ready.
And okay, now position.
Oh.
Ooh. Juicy Bile's going to be connecting on these sentries, but it's not going to be enough to take them out.
Yeah, nice force field, just stemming the tide. We can see Trap getting in position, getting ready for the Bailing run by, but it looks like we have maybe split up our army a little bit. Yeah, a little bit lopsided here for Trap.
Yeah, you know what? The Storm, so.
True.
There's the High Templar gets biled down. Battery overcharge going to be gonna be doing a lot of heavy lifting here, and surprisingly, it looks like Trap is able to push this back off the back of Storms and Battery Overcharge.
Yeah, after dealing with the Bailey run by, he's able to reinforce, able to rotate the remainder of his army, or most of his army, over towards that fourth base, and Trap does hold on. Now, what's terrifying here is that Dark's army doesn't really scale amazingly into a longer game. It's not like he has a Hydra Den and a Lurker Den and, you know, that kind of hive tech really kicking in. We're still stuck with Lingbane Roach Ravager, so Trap just has to weather the storm before he can counterattack.
Yeah, he still needs to trade a little bit more. He still needs to set up for that counterattack before actually. He still needs to get attacked before going for the counterattack.
And we'll see if he can minimize his losses as Lings get into the middle line. Probes are going to be going down. Storms are coming in, but we do take down 13 workers.
And a lot of damage here coming out from Dark. Trap technically has 4 bases, but it's not a 4-base economy anymore, and that is the sweet spot that Protoss wants to be at.
Yeah, Spile's going to be zoning away the army. We did get all those workers across the map. Zelarambai is going to distract some reinforcements, but does not get into the mineral line. Dark will defend. He will clean this up. And Trap, alas, still has a pretty hefty army, actually. That's 5 Immortals he's working with.
Yeah, very, very beefy. And you know what? Biles, they could be pretty good.
They can be good. It feels like Trap is going for a bit of a more of an all-in more than anything here. I mean, Trap does have a 3-base economy behind this, but we're committed. We're moving everything across the map, and our goal here is to straight up end the game. This base is going to go down, but Dark will evacuate.
Yeah, will main arc his probes over to the other fourth.
Does evacuate in the end. Ravager's going to be able to buy some time. Oh, Storm grazes the main army. At the same time, Lings are at the third. They're at the fourth base. Workers are going down, and Trap, we have to commit.
Yeah, where we're going, we don't need no workers. Trap is more than fine with giving up his economy if he can take this game, which he has a very potent army. He still has a lot of Storms behind all of this. These are mostly Ravagers, which do a lot of damage, but are a lot squishier than Roaches, especially against Archons.
Yeah, as Trap does outposition Dark, he has the high ground, he has the natural base. From here, he can just push into the main. Meanwhile, across the map, the fourth has fallen. The third base is in shambles as well. Trap is completely all in, but this army, it can trade well.
Yeah, a couple of Biles will land, and those are some high-tech units being taken out. You know, those are some key snipes on the Archons.
Oh, meanwhile, the Piles, they snipe the Prism. War Prism does go down. That means no more juggling, no more micro available here for Trap. Now we can collapse on the Immortals Piles. Once again, they connect, but it looks like the Immortals, they're going to be able to shut down the Roach Ravager.
Yeah, we're going to try to collapse on top of the Immortals, but typically it's the other way around that happens. GG, well played. Or well, question mark. GW is called, and Trap going to be taking that series 2-0. Wow.
GG, well played. Trap does take the series 2-0 here again. That Glaive Adept build has been the bane of Dark's existence for the past couple of weeks, whether it's against Classic or even here against Trap. It did do enough damage to give Trap a lead. It didn't kill Dark, but did give Trap a nice economic lead, and he was able to maintain his army. Towards the end, he was forced all in, but the robust force of Immortal Archon and Snowball that I controlled was an army that Dark just could not deal with.
Yeah, I was worried for him, not gonna lie, Light. I mean, we even said it a little bit in that game. Trap had an initial push out with Archons, with Immortals. He took out Dark's fourth base, and then he returned home. And I was really worried. I thought, oh no, Trap, you've missed your timing. Now Dark is just gonna get into the late game, and he's gonna roll over you with Lurkers or Vipers or even a Bile Fungal combo, something like that. But once things were starting to look really dire, once Trap was able to weather the initial few swarms of Roaches, Ravagers, and Lings, it feels like a flip kind of switch in his brain where he just decided then and there, oh wait, I have a very strong army, I need to push out now. and he was able to find a lot of success with that.
Yeah, exactly. Trappy was completely all in, but he had a more diverse army with Storms, with Archons, with Immortals, and he was just able to outscale and outtrade Dark. He had a lot of pressure on him to go for the all-in, and under that pressure, there was a little grace there from Trap, and GG, well played. Dark is eliminated. Trap advances on to face off against Shin in the next round.
Yeah, another TBC that we're going to get here, and yeah, as our players conduct their vetoes, we have quite a lot of updates coming down here on the bracket. Some very quick games. I can't believe we're already at the quarterfinals, despite the fact that we actually had a round of 32 this week.
Yeah, we do have our quarterfinals getting ready for us. Let's quickly switch our scenes over and have a look at the bracket.
Here we go. So as you can see at the top of the bracket, those are the two series that we've just covered. Trap did take out Dark 2-0. Will now be facing Shin, who took out Creator 2-1. A little bit lower than that, however, we do have confirmation. Oliveira took out Firefly 2-0. And Solar took out Future, but Future did take a game off of Solar.
Yeah.
Very nice stuff.
Do love to see it here. Solar taking down Future 2-1. It did go all the way to the ace match, so a big shout out to Future. Future is a very stylistic player, very aggressive as well, so would have been amazing to have seen that, but best of luck to Solar and Oliveira, as winner of that series will face off against the winner of our series, Trap versus Shin.
Yeah, that's going to be the first semifinals that we'll have here, the upper bracket semifinals, if you will. Meanwhile, moving on to the other matches, looks like Rogue did take out Ender 2-0. About the expected result, but shout out to Ender. It's been a while since we've really been able. It's been a while since we've been able to see him in one of these online events.
Oh yeah, exactly. As it's great to see Ender once again. He's actually laddering as we speak. He's so Ender, nice. He's still got that StarCraft itch that it needs to be scratched. So he is currently laddering and did go down to Rogue, but I look forward to seeing more of Ender in the upcoming weeks. Rogue takes down Ender and Beyond 2-0. Big wins out of Rogue. Now up against Australia in the lower quarterfinals.
Yeah, already winning a CVZ, already winning a CVT, but can he win a ZVP? Against arguably the best not only the best Protoss player, but also arguably the best player in general from the Americas region.
Oh yeah, I mean, he is the Americas representative for EWC, so Australia, he has been on fire as of late. Australia even he recently beat Bjorn. He beat Bjorn in ESL Open Cup Americas in PVT, so had some banger series last week and the week before that as well, so best of luck to Australia. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Classic. Classic takes down Nightmare 2-0 and is still waiting for the winner of Gumiho and Rex.
Hot damn. I mean, yeah, Classic is kind of the favorite player on paper, but the fact that it was a 2-0 and Nightmare wasn't even able to take out a game, despite PvP being what he's best known for, I would say. Very impressive stuff here coming out from Classic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, really impressive stuff there, and we'll see if Classic can go for another finals run. Classic, of course, was last week's champion in the absence of Hero, and we'll see if we can do it again. My eyes are definitely on Classic to make it to the finals. See if anyone can stop him down there in the lower half of the bracket.
Yeah, indeed, we shall. With no Hero around, Classic can just calm down. He can he can play games that he wants to play. He can play StarCraft. True. He doesn't have to ape it up so much.
Exactly. So do look forward to seeing some more Classic action further on in the tournaments. But for now, we're focusing our attention on the upper half. Again, Trap and Shin are currently conducting their vetoes, and once they are done, we'll be jumping into another PvC.
Indeed, we shall, and then potentially another PvC. And then potentially a PvZ finals. We get nothing but PvZ this week. That would be funny. Not gonna lie.
We'll see if that's the case.
I feel like there were a couple of weeks back in 2020 or 2021 where, for whatever reason, the Terran players just were degens and didn't wake up for ESL Open Cup. So literally, we had nothing but PvZ, with an occasional ZVZ or PvP here and there.
It would happen from time to time. It would happen, as it looks like we have our lobby being set up. We are jumping into this. And we're getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for that PVZ. Oh boy, and we'll see how this does turn out here as, yeah, we have our fresh best of 3. Getting ready.
Here we go, yeah. Best of 3 quarterfinals.
Oh yeah.
And so winner of this will move on to the semis.
Yep, exactly. Making our way to the semifinals. As you mentioned, it's been a pretty fast set of matches so far. It feels like we're kind of nearing the semifinals very, very quickly. Meanwhile, we just got an update. Gumio takes down Rex, but Rex forced the ace match.
Yeah, impressive stuff coming out from Rex once again.
Let's go. Not gonna lie, very impressive stuff there. So shout out to Rex for forcing the ace match. Gumio was the heavy favorite, but Rex has been improving quite a lot as of late. So do love to see it, as I guess now we're focusing on our own series.
Yeah, coming out from a little bit of a hiatus. There was a while where Rex said that he was going to focus more on content creation. He was going to be more of a caster, a little less of a pro. But yeah, recently, I guess with WTL as well, he's been a lot more motivated to compete a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. So here we go. We're going to be settling in and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Amphion. We have our South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Gaimin Gladiators. It is Shin.
And over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea as well. He is going to be representing Gen G. The G stands for Gemini. We have Trap.
We go. Is that
And you know what? Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what I'm most excited for in this match, Light, is the fact that we both have 2 GG players.
We do. we do. There's a lot of G's going on between these 2 players.
Yeah, a lot of these teams.
I know.
That's making my head.
They're they're paying tribute to Good Game Gaming, you know?
GG, yeah.
Yeah. They clearly they kind of had their place in the history of StarCraft, and both Gaimin Gladiators and Gen G Esports, they're both just paying respect.
Yeah. They knew what the progenitor of the G names were, of the G teams were.
There you go. So now we're going to be settling in. I mean, we just saw Trap. Yeah, we just saw him flex his PVZ earlier with that Glaive Adept build, and I'm sure we'll see it at some point in this series. I'm not too sure if we'll see it on Amphion, though. We'll keep our eyes on Trap. I guess we'll also get a glimpse of how he played against Dark in Game 1 as well, just a little bit more, experiencing a little bit more of what Trap has to offer in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Amphion was also the first map in the series, in his series against Dark, but you know, we'll see. Shin already doing fairly different things here, compared to his game against Creator, in that he's taking the exposed third base.
Yeah, he's going to be taking the unnatural natural, as Trap did deny the expansion here, so Shin looking a little bit more awkward as a result, because that he won't be able to mine through these mineral patches and expand into the base. Meanwhile, once again, Trap going for another Stargate opener, did the same thing in the previous game, but it's really about the timing of the Twilight Council. If he goes for it early on once again, then it can lead into Glaives.
We'll keep our eyes peeled on that. And just in general, I feel like Stargate, in general, Stargate obviously is a good opener for PvZ, but in Amphion especially, it's even more potent just looking at the short rush distance by air.
Yeah, exactly. Can get across the map very quickly. Link Scout will dip in, and Shin will confirm the Stargate. The Oracle will threaten the mineral line as well. Doesn't quite get a probe, but does deny mining time at least.
Oh, he's looking for... Okay, doesn't quite get it.
Oh.
That injured probe, so tempting.
Yeah, did slip away, did head down towards the low ground. I'm sure intentionally so by Trap, so he does preserve his workers. Link's coming in once again. The wall is open though, and it looks like we should be able to hold on. As I say, the shade, does not complete.
Yeah, the wall is in fact a wall now. It wasn't for a while, but now it is.
And it is Lings. They try to slip in once again. They get a surround on the Adept, but with the help of the Stalker, we do defend. At the same time, Oracle does get across the map and does threaten the mineral lines here of Shin.
Like so. 2 drones could be going down, but at the very least, Trap is able to keep that Oracle alive. That's a Twilight Council. That's 3 more gateways. I think we can all see. I think we can all predict where we go from here.
Yeah, that's the Twilight Council before the third even gets before it even gets thrown down. It's the same build. Same build once again here. It's going to be Glaive Adepts out of Trap, and it's on Shin to survive this, to minimize losses and maintain his economy here. We'll see if he can, as the Oracle is going to be fended off. Gets another drone, 4 drones so far, another Oracle into the main. Pretty good damage so far, and I have yet to see a Roach Warren from Shin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very hesitant. Now we're seeing the Roach Horn get thrown down, but it is a little bit late, so there's still a little tiny window where Shin won't actually have any defenses up against these Adepts. Oh, that start. I'm not sure if we can call it stutter stepping, but that was such a tight back and forth with this Oracle.
That was slick.
It was so yeah. Slick and rhythmic, just in, out, in, out, in, out.
That was some delicate micro out of Trap, and again, he's the wing commander for a reason. Very nicely done. He has killed how many drones so far? 10 workers already, and we've not even hit our final form as Glaives is about to complete. Some more Adepts are on the way, and back at home, Shin, the Roach Horn is done, but no Roaches in sight.
None whatsoever, and we'll see if Shin is able to put 2 and 2 together. He sees a lot of Adepts, so yeah, that's a pretty massive tip-off. Roach is now on the way, but Shin, of course, can't quite afford to get all of them, as many as he would like. He's got a lot more minerals than he does gas, so he still needs to produce Lings.
Yeah, it does wall off just in time. That was a clutch wall off there by Shin. Once again, he throws down the Evo Chamber, and he will deny those Adepts. So good control so far out of Shin. He's able to buy some time. The Adepts, they commit to the shade.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is the best place to commit. He's in the middle of the mineral line, but there are also Roaches on the high ground. He's getting completely surrounded by Queens and Lings. 7 drones go down, and so far this Glaved build has not paid for itself.
It has not. The Oracles did well early on, and that helps make up for that, but as you mentioned, right, 7 workers, ideally more than that. Meanwhile, Shin going for a massive counterattack. Back at home, we have sentries, and we can force out those force fields.
Like so. Is that sentry in?
Yeah, it's inside, yeah. It's a little bit stuck, it's fine. But yeah, so far, Shin, he holds. He does hold on. Shin is down in workers, true. Trap does take an economic lead, but it's not as much of a lead that he had against Dark, for example, and we're settling into a longer game. Shin taking also a different approach. Remember, Dark went for Lingbane Red Ravager. Shin is going into Hydras.
Yeah, Hydra's infestation pit on the way as well, so eventually we're going to be getting into lurkers.
I want to say he's referring to what we were seeing earlier with the
sentries, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming.
As we do see Shin just going for a bit of a scout. Yeah. He's referring to it.
Technically, no. Yeah,
it's
it's how it's supposed to work. It's just not something we see every day, because there's like a very specific condition to trigger it.
It's Trap
like it's not a bug because it's supposed to work that way.
Yeah. If you remember, there was a patch recently that fixed some of that. I say recently.
And people were. Yeah. And I say people. I was upset.
I think it was the patch at the start of the year, the Cyclone patch, that did actually change that. But for now, we're going to be focusing on getting ready for our next follow-up. 4th base has been spotted, so Trap is not going for an all-in. He's applying pressure, he's going for a move-out, that is true, but is also working on that next step. Meanwhile, as time goes on, the Lunkers, they're on the horizon.
They are rapidly approaching. We'll be seeing some Vipers as well once this high finishes up, and I'm getting a lot of deja vu like to what we saw between Shin and Creator on this map.
As we do fend off the main army for the time being, and Trap is pulling back. He pulls back, he's expanding, and he's teching. Disruptors are on the way, Temple Archives are on the way, so As Trap backs off and takes up, so is Shin, and who do we want to favor here? As, I mean, Lurkers, they can do quite well, especially early on, at least until we can hit critical mass of Immortals and Archons.
Yeah, and we're still quite a ways off from that here for Trap. Disruptor production has commenced. He's gone double Robo, so 2 Disruptors at a time, and he's also getting his Templar archives a lot quicker than what we saw in that game between Creator. So Trap is definitely keeping up. It's gonna come down to the engagement and to who actually, shoots first. If it's gonna be the Vipers yoinking first, or it's gonna be the High Templar feedbacking first.
Oh, yeah. As we are going to be moving out, so Disruptors have arrived. There's going to be 4 Disruptors here for Trap. It's a lot of Novas. A lot of Disruptors going to be available here from the side of our Protoss player. Meanwhile, Shin is maxed out. Not yet with any Lurkers. It's just Ling, Hydra, Roche. So we're not at our ideal form yet. We can, of course, threaten to die.
Yeah, threatening, but not quite jumping on it yet. Trap is well aware that that's a massive Zerg army of Lings, Roaches, and Hydras that have a lot of concave potential as well at the top of that ramp.
Yeah, and I love that Shin, he prioritized not Lurkers, but the Vipers. Vipers are here, and they can abduct, and there we go, 1, 2, 3. Disruptor's going to be shut down immediately.
That was slick. That was just one after the other.
Yeah, very smooth move here from Shin. He shuts down the army, forces a recall as well, and now Trap is in a lot of trouble. He lost the backbone of his army. Does have a lot of Immortals, but that's where the Vipers come in. They still have more yoinks.
Yeah, and they're looking to yoink the High Templar in the back line. They're looking a little exposed. They do have Storm. They do have enough energy for Storms. And we do have a couple of clutch feedbacks on top of these Vipers, so no more yoinks going to be available here for Shin. And with the Storm, Trap is going to be able to push this back. He's going to continue to push, but we'll see what he can really get done here when he no longer has Disruptors to work with.
Yeah, because now the Lunkers are now coming. We've hit our next phase here. 13 Lurkers on the way. They're not quite in position. They're off to the side, so it's going to be a little bit awkward to defend here as Trap is pushing forward, and we can only rely on Roaches.
And there's still a little bit that Trap can do right now. Trap now maxed out. He's getting the Mothership as well. And he hasn't remade his Disruptors at all, which is interesting to me. So he's going to be heavily reliant on Storms and Archons. Blinding Cloud's going to be hurting these Protoss units into Lurker volleys. We do have a couple of Storms going off on the Lurkers, but that is not going to be enough to take him out.
The Blinding Clouds with the MVPs in that fight. We shut down every single Immortal. Without those Blinding Clouds, the Lurkers would have all gone down. It would have been a reversal there, and all the Zerg would have fallen. But alas, without those Immortals, without any DPS, Shin, he shuts down the main army. We have Zealots in the main base. They are threatening the main and the tech, but Trap, he lost everything.
Everything is fallen. Even a Warp Prism gets yoinked. And now we're in a very precarious position for Protoss. Trap has taken, I think, one of the worst fights he possibly could have taken with those Blinding Clouds getting thrown down, and it's going to take him a very long time to remax.
Yeah, exactly. Things were looking good until the Vipers arrived, and there was just no answer to them. There was no denial of those spells, and now we do have the main army pushing forward. There is no detection for the Zerg, so Shin will have to back off. Claude coming in clutch.
Yeah, not too bad. Trap going to be able to keep himself alive, buy himself a little bit more time. He's getting the Dark Shrine now. You love to see it.
Dark Shrine is on the way. Trap, he does hold the line. And even though Shin is maxed out, Trap has a comparable army size, but we have to be careful not to overextend here, as we do move quite far out onto the map, and this army is still looking a little bit more bare bones. The Viper's looking for more abductions, for more opportunities to really pay off.
Yeah, and speaking of the devil, we do get a yoink on this Mothership. A second yoink on the Mothership. Minus 350, minus 350.
We do shut it down. 300, man. 300. It's even cheaper.
It's even cheaper, yeah.
We do shut it down. Immortals, they're going to be getting ground. They do force against it. That's a kill on the hatchery, but at the same time, Nidus. Nidus into the main base. It looks like it will complete.
Yeah, it will. A couple of Lurkers do pop out, and that should just about be enough here for Shin to just completely mess up the production.
Yeah, the army does recall back home, though, and with the recall, we're going to be able to shut down the Nidus and all the lurkers. That's a big loss here for Shin. One lurker barely does survive, gets left behind, but at least Shin buys some time here to rebuild and remax. That was a lot of dead lurkers, though. Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of high-tech units going down before the Observer actually gets into position. That, in the end, was a little bit of a wash here, I want to say. I mean, Shin losing a lot of lurkers, but also able to snipe a couple of key units here from Trap. Trap, who isn't in a great economic position to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, he has his 4-base or his 5-base setup, but as I say that, one of these bases is about to go down, and Trap, he ignores the army. We're going for a full-on base raid. As a reminder, Trap just recalled, so recall is not available.
Yeah, he has to commit here. And thankfully for Trap, there's only one lurker here in the defense, so he's actually forcing a lot of these units back.
Yeah, Shinny turns back around. He will get a kill in this base, but everything does race back home. Can we get a surround? There's actually not that much support for the Immortals.
Yeah, the Storm is pretty much the only support these Immortals have gotten. That's not really the most reliable buffer. A couple of ranks do land, and now we barely have any Immortals left. Yeah,
exactly. Lings, they come in to reinforce. Zealots likewise going to be able to stem the tide and force back some of these Hydras, but we're down to 2 Immortals. At the same time, Lurkers are coming from behind. Oh, they overextend. All the Lurkers go down.
Oh. Yeah, and all of a sudden, things are looking up for Trap.
Yeah, Trap, he is breaking through. 0 Lurkers remaining, only Hydras and Roaches, and with Roach Hydra, what can we really do here?
Die, I guess. Get stormed, Vipers go down, so no more yoinks, no more abducts, and all of a sudden, Trap is able to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. GG. Wow. That was a clutch. That was a clutch turnaround. That was a clutch reversal coming out here from Trap.
GG, well played. Yeah, Trap, he does clutch it out in the end. There was some dire moments. There was some really brutal back and forth in that game. For example, I see even the chat pointing it out. The Mothership timing, right, with the cloak, right? That completely forced Shin to back off. Like, Trap was under so much pressure in that moment. Likewise, we saw Trap catching all those lurkers towards the end as well. It was very, very close there. A nail-biter of a game, and Trap came out on top.
Yeah. GG. Trap, he's just got this... It's not necessarily a killer instinct, because, you know, he doesn't... Not really one to go for the throat when his opponents are vulnerable, I think, as we saw in that game against Dark, but he has a counterattack instinct that a few other players have, and he's showing it off very... He's displaying it very well here so far.
He really is, and now we're settling into game number 2, potentially the final game of the series, as spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Gaimin Gladiators, looking to fight back, looking to force that ace match. It is a Shin.
And over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea as well. He's going to be representing Genji. Genji Esports? Yeah, I think it's Genji Esports officially. The G, of course, standing for Gemini. We have Trap.
Here we go. Again, Trap won a game away from taking it all here. And the question becomes, does Trap go for Glaive Adepts again? It's all we've seen from him. At least when it comes to the follow-up tech of choice.
Well, on Ghost River, yes. You have to. It's probably the best map for it.
Probably.
At least on paper.
We'll keep an eye on a Trap, as for now he's going to be dipping into the main. Again, it's going to be a hatch gas pool. Shin force take the unnatural natural. So a bit of a more awkward setup here for Shin. And for those that are curious what we're referring to, if you missed out on the past couple of games, so far for the past 2 PVZs that we've casted with Trap, he has gone for a Stargate opener into a Twilight Council into Glaives just as he's taking the 3rd base, and has been quite successful with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbeatable. It's got an unbeatable record. I forget how that meme goes. The win rate of Glaive Adepts is absurd. I don't remember how it goes. That was a copy passer.
ZVP unwinnable is basically what's true, papi, true. We'll see if that's the case. Meanwhile, we got another update. I don't know if you noticed when we were out of game, but Australia just 2-0'd Rogue.
Hell yeah. The American Hope continues to keep the hopes alive, and now he's going to be waiting in the quarterfinals for either Classic or Gumiho.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that also means... Oh, actually, I was going to say that Shin is the last Zerg player. I think Solar is still mid-series, or did Solar Series also wrap up?
It also wrapped up. We do have confirmation of that. Oliveira took out Solar 2-0.
Oh, okay. Well, then Shin is
So
the
he's
last
waiting
Zerg.
on the other side of this bracket. Yeah, he's waiting on the other side of this series.
There you go. So Shin is the Zerg hope for the tournament here. All the others have since fallen, but Trap has been on fire as of late. And that does not bode well for Shin. What I will say, though, is that at least I'm hoping for an ace match, especially after what happened in Game 1. It was very, very close between both Shin and Trap.
Yeah, Shin was doing so well until he wasn't.
Oh, yeah. As for now, it
And
is
he
going
was
to be...
just doing decently well.
Now it's going to be the Oracle opener out of Trap. Going to be moving out across the map. Likewise, just going to be settling into our 2-base economy here. After we get into our initial... couple of oracles, that's when we're going to be able to determine the follow-up build of Trap.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled there. So far, we're seeing just very standard things going on for both our players. Shin playing things out safe, grabbing his safety spores. I don't believe we have a Roach Warren yet. We're going to be getting there pretty soon, I imagine.
Yeah. For now, just joining up. Lings, they threaten the third base, but we're in position. Third base is going to be taken. And we do see Trap able to get into his third much faster than the previous game, of course. Lings, they're going to be not going to be able to delay it for too much longer as we hunt down an Overlord.
Like so. Yeah, meanwhile, Twilight Council now getting thrown down, so we know for a fact that it will at least be that it will at least utilize it. I'm trying to be like, well, it doesn't have to be Glaive the Depths. You know, we saw Creator grab a Dark Shrine on this map. It could be Blink if we see a Forge, but
if this was,
it's gotta be the same build.
If this was Hero, I would validate you, and I'd be like, this could be Blink, 100%. This could be Blink. This could be like the beginning of a 3-base all-in with 8 Blink Stalkers, and Hero would throw down the gateway in the center of the map. That's what that would be. But this should be Glaives, and there it is. Glaives are on the way.
Like so.
Really, what you're saying, Yaku, is you just miss Hero.
I do. I need the ape.
True, papi, true. This time, though, Shin is going for a much earlier Roach Warren. This is around the 4-minute 40-ish timing. So a safety Roach Warren here from Shin, which means he should have Roaches out in time. But even if you have Roaches out, I mean, we can still bypass them. Like, damage can still be done with the build of Trap.
Yeah. That's the thing about Shades. Not only do they make you look cool, but you can also bypass slower units like Roaches.
You really can. So it's all about the positional play for Shin, as we do pick up a couple of workers here and there. Lings are moving out across the map, but they are going to run into those at depths. They do get a decent surround, but here come reinforcements.
Yeah, are these reinforcements going to be enough? They are. Shin is a little bit tipped off to what's coming his way, but regardless, he was already preparing for the Glaive the Depths. Let's see if it's going to be enough. Roaches is still not out yet, and that's not a lot of Lings.
Well, that's also no Sim City. If you remember in the previous game, we were able to wall off with the natural. This time, there is no wall. Lings going to be going down. We're focusing on drones as we speak, and what damage is being done.
Yeah, Lings have completely fallen. Queen doesn't quite go down, but it is very low. There's very little transfuse potential right now for Shin. You see one of them, but that's not going to be enough. Drones falling left and right in the main base, in the third base. This is not quite game-ending damage yet, but we're getting there very quickly.
I mean, last game we killed 7 drones. This time, 13 workers going to be going down. We will clean up all the adepts, but that was almost a full mineral line worth of workers. And with that, Trap does take a worker lead. We've done enough, and now we are ahead economically. But Shin is not replacing those drones. Do you see what I see? We're going for a counter all-in.
Yeah, might as well pull the boys.
That's basically what's happening here is the queens are walling across the map. It's going to be a Ling Queen Roach all in from Shin. One way or another, the game is going to end.
And on the flip side here, not a lot of SimCity either. We do have sentries for force fields, but Ravagers are starting to get morphed in. And that will complicate things quite a bit.
Yeah, as the Ravagers have arrived, the Overlords are here to spread their creep so we can allow for transfuse. Shield Batteries are finishing up just in time. Solid force field so far.
And we do have a really good funnel, a choke point being produced here for Trap. Ling's starting to fall left and right. Once again, fantastic force field is going to be completely nullifying the Zergling's role as a buffer for the rest of these units.
Yeah, Lings, they get shut down. The Overlord was killed as well, so no further creep, at least not further forward. Rocks are being knocked down to allow for Shin to have an easier access to this third base, but so far we are holding very nicely, and we still have an overcharge.
Indeed we do. We have not popped that just yet. We are starting to get on the top of this Protoss army with Ravagers and Roaches and Queens, but it's still a Protoss army. It's still a very potent force. I think an Immortal just went down, but we still have another one remaining. And Shin, he's not breaking through. Trap is holding.
Trap is holding on here. The one Immortal did go down, but GG gets called, and Trap will take the 2-0, advancing on to the semifinals.
That was slick. That was a tight hold here coming out from Trap. GG, very nicely done.
GG, very nicely done here as Trap. He has embraced the classic way and has also embraced the Glaver depths. Time and time again, every single game here so far in these PvZs, Trap has embraced it and has brought down his opponents. Sometimes immediately, sometimes a little bit later on. But regardless, Trap does take the lead here, and yeah, congratulations, Trap advances on, and he has an opponent ready and waiting.
Indeed, he does. A pretty terrifying opponent, all things considered here. Oliveira waiting for him on the other side of these semifinals, and he has been on fire recently, and on top of that has looked very, very, really good in the TVP matchup. I mean, taking out Firefly is expected, but taking him out 2-0 is, I think, a sign of what Oliveira's TVP is looking at right now.
Yeah, it wasn't showcased too much at DreamHack Dallas just because his TVZ kind of took the main stage and really garnered a lot of attention from the side of Oliveira, right, with his play against Reynor and his play against Serral. But it was in the previous rounds in DreamHack Dallas in the group stage where Oliveira did take down some big Protoss names as well, and his TVP is also looking very strong. Yeah. Like, Oliveira is straight up one of the best players in the world right now, and yeah, I mean, any indication of that would be the fact that he just brought down Solar, which is again crazy.
Oh yeah, very nice work here coming out from Oliveira. So Trap definitely has his work cut out for him over here in these semifinals.
Yeah, but Trap is.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has looked pretty damn impressive against Dark and Shin, who are two opponents who are no easy opponents either. I know it's a bit of a different matchup here, but even still, things like Trap's control that we were able to witness, his slick defense, his stutter stepping, and or I guess not really stutter stepping, but you know, his process of going in and out with those oracles, these are the things that carry over in other matchups, and hopefully it's a good sign for him.
His micro, Bobby. His micro has been on
micro,
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a banger here in these semifinals. But again, congratulations to Trap. My condolences to Shin. As you mentioned, Trap, at least in PvZ, he's looking on fire. But how does he compare to Oliveira here? I'm hoping for a back and forth. We did at least feature that earlier with Shin versus Creator, and I'm hoping we can get a little bit more out of these two players, but we'll see. I'm sure they also do want to try to keep some things back in the lead up to EWC. I mean, I say that if they really wanted to, they'd pull a hero and they wouldn't be here, right? Like, as I mentioned before,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like more than anything, they're really refining their builds here. Clearly, you know, Trap relying on his Glaver depths, at least in the previous matchup.
Yeah, and of course, Trap isn't going to EWC, so I feel like there's a little bit more pressure on Oliveira to be the one to hide builds here, whereas Trap, he can just come out and be, yeah, I'll do whatever I want. I can play however I want. I don't have to worry about getting Funarad in the lead up to EWC. I don't have to
True.
worry about other players analyzing what I'm doing.
Mhm.
It's definitely a little bit more on Oliveira in that regard. Side note, but I also like that once again, for some reason, it's Protoss players that are displaying two extremes in a certain spectrum. And what I mean by that is that you mentioned that if you were really wanting to hide your builds, if you were really wanting to focus entirely on the World Championship, you have Hero, who just doesn't play in online events and just focuses on ladder custom games and refining his style. And on the other extreme, you have Zest, who literally the morning before the finals
True.
is playing in an online cup.
True. That shows the dichotomy there of Hero and Zest and the craziness that is Korean Protoss. So, yeah, they are very different players.
No middle ground when it comes to Korean Protoss.
Not at all. But here we go. Looks like the vetoes are done and we're jumping into our semifinals. If you're in the chat, predictions will be open, so place your bets on who you think will be our first finalist, whether it's going to be our Terran or our Protoss.
Here we go. I'm kind of surprised it took us this long to see Oceanborn, not gonna lie. Like,
True. Yeah, I'm surprised how often we saw Amphion. Like, we barely see Amphion typically, but we saw quite a lot today.
I'm pleasantly surprised, though, being honest. I do feel like it's a little played out, but regardless, we are going to be seeing it at least once here tonight, as the map that we're going to be spawning in on to kick off our best of 3 semifinals is going to be Oceanborn. And we're here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left. We, of course, have our red Terran player coming out from the land of China. He is going to be representing Weibo Gaming. We have Oliveira.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap.
Historically, Trap has been a very, very strong PvT player, and at least for a couple of months or even years, Oliveira has been a little bit weak in the TVP matchup, but ever since DreamHack Dallas, man, it really does feel like he's tightened up his play, and he has fixed these specific issues that he had in TVP. I think he talked about it a little bit, but basically, from what he was able to gather from advice from other Terran players, the issue that he had was mostly on mindset, where he was overthinking, so to speak. I remember this specifically. He was apparently overthinking in the TVP matchup, but then Maru said to him, "Yo, you don't need your brain in this matchup. In fact, your brain is actually going to hinder you in this matchup. You stop worrying about how you're going to counter your opponent's play and just go for the kill."
Yeah, it's what that boils down to is basically the idea of as a Terran player more dictating the pace of the game instead of just constantly like reacting and scouting, responding to your opponent, and kind of taking control of the game instead. So and that's been quite successful here for Oliveira, at least since then. And we'll see how he compares to Trap, as Trap is looking to spice things up a little bit here, as he does end up hiding that probe, will avoid that Reaper.
Yeah, we'll see if this is just going to be one of those lame probe scouts where it's like, okay, I'll hide the probe a little while to avoid the Reaper, but then I'm going to go in. Or if this is going to be a Chad probe that throws out a proxy. Never mind, it's going to be a dead probe.
Yeah, because always looking for those proxies, Papi. Unless the probe gets shut down, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Trap. So nothing too crazy, looking like a Blink-based build as we're easing our way into our TVZ. Again, it was also a pretty standard setup here by Oliveira, going for a Rack Expand economic opener from our Terran player.
Yeah. No starport yet. There's a starport now before the third CC, so very safe start here coming out from Oliveira, but yeah, that's just TVP for you. You don't want to be going... You don't want to immediately be going on the offensive in TVP. In fact, that's a guaranteed way for you to die in the matchup. So yeah, just focus, be a little bit more defensive, be a little bit more macro in the early game, and focus more on the mid-game timing.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of double gas openers here in TVP, but Oliveira does avoid it. He goes for a much more economic start into a 1-1-1, into his follow-up 3 racks, I imagine, and yeah, we're just going to be easing away into the mid-game. Likewise, our eyes are on Trap to see how many gateways he throws down. It's going to be 2 gate blink for the time being, and we'll see if he throws out an extra gateway or if he just goes for the 3rd.
And okay. I was going to say it's going to be a 3rd, but we're hesitating a little while. Waiting for those 400 minerals. Yeah, it's going to be the 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, we are going to be expanding here. So, once again, a very macro build here from a Trap, and we're just, avoiding the early game aggression, and both players are making strides and headed towards the mid game.
Which really is where both of them start to thrive. I know that Oliveira in TVP, when it comes to the mid game, he just loves to go for a timing and never stop. Not necessarily parade pushing, but going for multi-pronged drops, just continuing to harass and make sure his Protoss opponent can never get a 4th base. Trap, likewise, is similar in those regards, where he does like to have a very potent mid-game army with storms, with, I imagine, disruptors and or Colossus as well, in PvT specifically, but it's going to take him a while before he gets to that point, so we'll see how we get there. Yeah,
we're just building up and getting to that point. Oliveira did open up with a Widowmine drop. We do have 2 Widowmines here on the right-hand side. Honestly, this opener is very out of fashion. It's like maybe once a tournament or like once a week even where we're able to see this.
Series. Or not, yeah. I was going to say maybe once a series, but no, I think what you're pointing towards is more accurate. Once in a tournament.
So I appreciate that Oliveira is mixing it up. Does find the Observer, does shut it down, and has yet to pull the trigger with the Widowmine. Ideally, you want to wait for a distraction, wait for Trap to move out or another push, and then slip in and try to catch a Protoss player off guard. So we're just going to be keeping this in the back line, and we'll see if we find an opportune moment for that mine drop.
We're just waiting for it now. And this is a pretty smart way to go for a mine drop, and not gonna lie. It sets off a lot of sirens in my head because I'm usually thinking, but when you go for mine drop, you gotta scout. You're supposed to be scouting, figuring out what's going on. But yeah, if your priority is on damage, it is more worthwhile to just hang back and wait for a moment where your Protoss opponent isn't necessarily expecting a drop, or when they're a little bit more distracted by a double drop coming into the main base.
Yeah, here we go. Double drop towards the main. We have the main army pushing through the center as well. So a bit of a tri-pronged attack here by Oliveira. Meanwhile, earlier with the Reaper Scout, he did see the 3rd. So upon seeing the 3rd base, he knows it's just a macro build. So he didn't need to dive into the main base necessarily. And we'll see if we can get some damage done here as the 3 prongs are moving out for Oliveira. Trap does have an army in position, does have shield batteries.
Yeah, and of course he's going to be able to hold this position, but the priority here for Oliveira is to try to distract the army. Nice depowering of the gateways. Unfortunately for Oliveira, Storm did complete before that pylon went down, so...
Yeah, Storm it did finish. I mean, we do get some decent damage done here. We send in the Storm's overcharge is spot with the help of the overcharge. Can we actually hold on? The Stalker does go down. We break through.
The Widowmine actually taking out the Stalker and then the Archon, so... Yeah, pretty good here from Oliveira, but he is starting to bleed out a lot of his units. Trap coming down to the low ground.
Yeah, it's going to be 4 probes going down. Nice juggling out of Oliveira. He does pull away, but we have reinforcements in production. And Trap, he's not ready for a follow-up push. Shield batteries are depowered, but it looks like Oliveira doesn't really have much to keep going.
Yeah, he's eclipsing Trap when it comes to the army supply, but a lot of that supply is in these 4 medevacs.
Yeah, exactly, as Trap is still struggling to hold on, bearing in mind as well that he has now repowered all of his gateways. He can now reinforce, warp in, and going to be repowering those shield batteries as well. Trap is holding. There was some nice damage out of Oliveira, but there was nothing too major. Like, for the most part, Trap did pull away in time and didn't really lose too many workers.
Yeah, that's a key consideration, right? Trap, I think, or Oliveira, sorry, I think traded much more efficiently than Trap did, but Trap still has all of these units out. Trap still has his economy up and running. It's been untouched, and yeah, you can just continue to warp in more units. very good juggling coming out from him as well.
Yeah, nice micro here out of Trap. He does preserve his army, does preserve his units. Overcharge is popped. And now it's going to be off of cooldown, and Oliveira might be able to break on through here. As I say that, I believe there is still one Storm and one High Templar in that Prism.
He's waiting for the most opportune moment to pop it. Very nice pre-split coming out from Oliveira. But I do think that Trap just has too much beef in his backline. He has too much calcium in his backbone.
And he stands strong. I mean, that was impressive, especially against the tri-prone attack of Oliveira. Trap, he defends, he minimizes losses, he does protect his third base, and now Oliveira has to back off. Now, thankfully, Oliveira was not all in. He has his own third up and running, and we have a fourth CC in production, actually, before Trap even throws out his own fourth.
Oh, okay. Not something you see every day here in TVP, and something that is going to be pretty disastrous for Trap if he lets it be disastrous.
Yeah, is a Terran player with a better economy is a terrifying thing here in a TVP. We can see Trap going for his own Zealot drop across the map, but Trap did also spot the main drop play of Oliveira, so he's going to be able to keep up as Oliveira threatens the fourth. I mean, at the same time, the drop does slip into the main.
That's going to cause quite a bit of disruption here in the economy of Oliveira. Tries to warp in, but yeah, decides that it's probably not the best idea.
And with the Rattle of the Viking, we can chase this Prism down. At the same time, Liberators have arrived. We do deny mining time, but once again, Trap does pull away and doesn't actually lose that many workers.
Yeah, neither does Oliveira in that offense, so yeah, both players kind of prodding around and trying to find gaps in each other's armor and not quite finding it.
Oh, exactly, as we try to catch the Prism as well, but alas, it will barely escape. I say that Liberator does reposition Oliveira. He's on the hunt. He wants the Prism. Up.
Yeah, he's still gonna pounce on top of this. He does get the EMP, but there's not enough anti-air. That's a mostly Marauder army going on there from Oliveira. Oh man, I feel that in my bones when you nail the EMP, but you don't actually have any other units that can clean up.
Alas, the Prism does manage to get away, but it's at least pinned back at home, right? It's not harassing across the map, it's not threatening with another Zealot drop, so Oliveira, he can focus on his main push, and we'll see how he can break through this. Remember that we do have 3 High Templar, 3 Storms are currently available here for Trap.
3 Storms available and more where that came from. Nails the EMPs though. Does Oliveira. A couple of High Templar in the backline will get a Storm, but it looks like, yeah, this is going to be enough for Oliveira. Those quick little EMPs absolutely shut down everything Trap was relying on when it came to his defense.
Yeah, the Storms were good. The flanking Storms were amazing, but alas, that's all we did have. The EMPs, as you were saying, were even better. Liberator going to be going down. Viking's going to be landing. It looks like Trap, he can barely hold on. It's such a close fight. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a very oversimmed army here from Oliveira, and Trap, he sets a little bit of weakness, and he pounced right on top of it. Trap actually holds, and once again, doesn't lose too many of his workers. I mean, he did trade very poorly in that fight, don't get us wrong. That was a much more efficient trade for Oliveira. But Trap, he's still mining, he's still keeping this going, he's still on 4 bases. It's not the end of the world for him.
Yeah.
It's by no means the end of the game.
Yeah, Trap, he barely holds on. He's got 3-4 High Templar here in the back line. Immortals are amassing once again. Oliveira does have the better economy, which is what I'm concerned by. Oliveira can still just snowball and just overwhelm Trap, but for now, he is holding on. Not out of the woods yet, though, as we go for Zelaramai. There's a planetary already in position.
That will shut this down. Well, switching gears now, we're not focusing so much on High Templar here for Trap. Instead, Colossus now on the way. Thermalant's just started getting researched.
Yeah, getting into Colossus production. I mean, the Viking count was reset. There's only 2 Vikings left, so Colossus, they can definitely have a presence here in this next fight. As I say that, we're getting back into Viking production, so Oliveira, he is making sure he actually has that anti-air and doesn't give a Trap any kind of wiggle room when it comes to getting into those Colossus.
Yeah, Vikings are a pretty good unit, yo. It's not just good against the Colossus. They're pretty good against Warp Prisms, which may or may not contain High Templar. You can land them. They do very well against Stalkers specifically. Not so much against Immortals or Zealots, but yeah, if it's mostly Stalkers left in the ground army, you definitely have that opportunity to land. And of course, Eventually, they're going to be pretty good against Sky Toss.
Yeah.
Eventually, when we get there.
They have their place in the Terran army. The Observer does spot the main army rotation, so Trap is aware, at the same time pushing through the center instead, trying to force a reaction out of Oliveira. But I'm sure Trap wants to avoid a fight for the time being, takes down the turret. We do have our scan. Oliveira taking a 5th base as well, still upper base compared to the Protoss.
Yeah, we're starting to really outscale Trap from here. Oliveira now maxed out. Trap still a little ways off. And of course, he doesn't really have enough of a bank to try to remax if we do have two armies clashing against each other and wiping each other out.
Exactly. It's going to come down to this next fight as Oliveira's maxed out. Trap still needs a little bit of time to get some warp ins and get his reinforcements going. Checking the unit tab, we have 8 High Templar, 2 of which are in the Prism as well, so we have a lot of Stormers available.
And we'll see if they do come into play. We also have a lot of EMPs available right now for Oliveira. It's all about who shoots first.
Exactly. It's all about our spellcasters here. Likewise, if the Prism can, or sorry, the Vikings can somehow find the Prism before any storms go off as well, that's going to be a big moment for Oliveira. So a lot of positional play going on. Oliveira rotating around, and likewise Trap trying to keep up.
Yeah, Oliveira really keeping Trap on his toes here. Trap knows that he cannot really split his army up. He has to keep them all together, but it's not the most mobile army that he has going between all of these bases back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So far, so good. Trap also double expanding, taking his 5th and 6th base at the same time. Oliveira is here. Will deny an expansion, but at least Trap has another.
Yeah, really good moves coming out from Trap. Good EMPs, but I think these High Templar still have a lot of energy left on them.
Yeah, they still have a storm each on those High Templar. We can see that Oliveira, he backs the hell off. Again, still just the ebb and flow of the main armies. Trap is getting a base up and running. It's at least on the way, and we'll see if we can get away with it. Oliveira still just trying to rotate as well, trying to keep up.
Like so. I do appreciate the missile turrets being set up in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. Will kind of destroy any observers. There's not any vision of the Protoss player. The other base has been spotted, but Oliveira, he's going for the Nexus, and once again, he's going to force a cancel.
And this was the Nexus that was supposed to be up. Oh no, Trap. 4 bases are alright, but it's a bare minimum for Protoss.
It is the bare minimum. Here we go. Trap is going to be sending. We have a nuke across the map, and Trap, he does notice. He does pull away.
Does pull away, but hasn't quite scouted the, yeah, he does have detection is the issue, so he can't get rid of that ghost.
Yeah, the ghost is still there. We have the storm. We have the storm, thankfully, dealing with that ghost. Oliveira rotating once again, out positioning a Trap. The Nova is not going to go off as the Trapper goes down, and we're once again going for the base.
That's a very decisive targeting coming out here from Oliveira. Bases Ignite once again, and Trap, I would say it's down to a 4-base economy, but it's even less than that now that his main and his natural is starting to get mined out.
Yeah, again, it's Trap. He's feeling pretty all in with this. Like, he has a comparable army. He can still win a fight. He can still win a fight and win the game, but he won't be able to sustain himself. He won't be able to remax. I mean, look at the banks here for the armies.
Yeah, it's insane right now for Oliveira and non-existent for Trap. Also insane for Trap, but insane bad for Trap.
Oh my, massive connection's gonna be going off. DTs from behind, but the Colossus go down. Oliveira, he did get caught off guard, though. He's gonna be cleaned up.
Yeah, pretty good fight here for Trap, but it's what you mentioned earlier on. Oliveira can remax. He's got a lot of barracks to work off of. He's producing 6 Liberators at a time. He can still remax. He can still defend from here. Trap needs to keep this going. There's the Vikings!
Yeah, Vikings are going down. The DTs, they morphed into Archons. We have a wave of Archons on the way, and Trap, it's all or nothing. He has to end the game with this push.
It kind of looked like Oliveira wanted to just trade out the Vikings to get more barracks units, but that was not a good trade at all for him whatsoever. Is Trap gonna do this?
We came to the production.
He's camping the production.
Yeah, if we can break in, that's gonna be game. We have another big warp in as well. Liberator's gonna be sieging up, but we have anti-air. We have a Stalkers, and it looks like Trap, he cleans us up. GG gets called, and Trap will take game 1.
Once again, GG, the king of the counterattacks. Trap was in a completely losing position there until the very end when he realized, you know what, I didn't want to go all in, but you made me go all in.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have to deal with all of my Archons, all of my DTs, those Purification Novas that if they didn't connect, I think that was the Hail Mary from Trap, really. Those Purification Novas right towards the end there, and they did connect.
Mm-hmm.
And it did allow him to keep that push going. It did allow Trap to just completely counterattack. My god, this is some very impressive stuff here that we've seen from Trap so far. Not just in that game, but in the previous series as well. If he can keep this going, I mean, he's 100% making it to the finals.
More than anything, it's grace under pressure, right, from Trap, because as we mentioned, like he had to end the game then and there. If he had stopped, if he had pulled back, or if Oliveira had bought any extra time, then it would have been over, right? Then Oliveira defends, and Oliveira can just outscale Trap. So, yeah, the killer instinct of Trap, it's real.
Yeah. Or even while going for that all-in, Trap panicked a little bit, got a little bit too anxious, and maybe shot out a Purification Nova a little bit too early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is 100% grace under pressure coming out here from Trap. Very calm in the middle of a storm,
mm-hmm.
and is able to just let that killer instinct, that counterattack instinct, shine the brightest. I'm absolutely in awe, and that was just game number 1 here. As we go into game number 2 of our best of 3 semifinals. Very impressive stuff so far, and I feel like we're just going to see more of it as the series goes on. Here, continuing our series on El Quillone, so yeah, a little bit more of a normal series, or normal map picks coming in from this series in particular. That's what happens when you don't have Dark or Shin. Here we are in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left. We have our red Terran player coming out from the land of China. He is, of course, going to be representing his team, Weibo Gaming. We have a normal man. He is Oliveira.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Gen G Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Trap.
I'm seeing chat catch up now, and oh boy, yeah, that was a little bit of a weird... It's a little bit of a weird game when we look at the progression and we think, okay, yeah, I know. Oliveira, he's in a winning position. He has so much momentum behind him. This game is done. Trap's just playing, but yeah, Trap somehow able to just come back from behind and completely render all of that momentum inert with those Purification Novas. That was a very clutch move coming out from Trap, and one that we've actually been seeing, that we've seen consistently come up from him throughout the tournament.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where there's one win condition, and that is we have to take a fight and just go all in from there, right? Like you have to just send it immediately and go for the main base, go for the production, and Trap was able to pull it off. But what we will say here is that, again, that was he was still in a really rough position, and up until that point, Oliveira was playing beautifully, right? He was just out positioning Trap, he was denying bases, he was able to, just pull him apart in many other ways, and again, Oliveira still has it in him here to force the ace match. It's just clearly, like, even if you're in a better position, if you're ahead against Trap, like, you can't count him out.
Yeah, you absolutely cannot. It was one of those things, right, where it was Trap was able to keep calm and do very well in a desperate position, but Oliveira was able to force that. The fact that Oliveira was able to force things to get that desperate for Trap is definitely a testament to his TVP, and I think if he does something similar, but a little bit tighter, like, I don't think Oliveira has to switch things up too much here, is what I'm trying to get at going into El Quillone. I do think it's still on Trap to try to make sure that things don't get that desperate.
Yeah, and we'll see if we can get there. As for now, it's going to be another Twilight Council opener out of Trap. Going to be Blink. We did see 2-gate Blink into a third in the last game. We'll see if it's going to be the same this time. Meanwhile, Oliveira being a little bit more active this time with our initial Hellion. Nice stutter stepping does shut down the Adept and does gain map control as we're going for, and we're setting up for a drop behind this.
Indeed, we are not going to be in that mine drop that we saw on Oceanborn. Like you said, that's an opening that we only see about once in a tournament. So It was already used once.
Uh-huh.
It can no longer be redeemed.
No more. No more. As Trap is setting up, going for our Robo. With this, of course, we can head towards early Immortal production if we feel the need to, but really, Oliveira's just applying some light pressure, moving out with his forces, waiting for that medevac to drop into said main.
Yeah, we're just chilling in the middle of the map now, just waiting for that opportune moment, as you said. Banshee, cloaked Banshee coming out from here from Oliveira, and that's something we haven't seen in quite some time in TVP.
Yeah, and here we go. The army has arrived. We're going to be zoning away the Stalkers with that Widowmine. Nice juggling, keep the Widowmine alive. But the Hellion does go down. Nice control of the Trap, not taking things or not really escalating too much, but the base is going to be cancelled. Up, it's close.
Gotta be right. It's gotta be cancelled. It's cancelled right at the end there.
And with that, that was the purpose of this push. That was the purpose of this drop, so very well done. We avoid and we shut down the Widowmine, but we got what we wanted. We denied the third.
Yeah, mission accomplished here from Oliveira, so now he can hang back and focus more on his own macro play. He's already securing himself a pretty good lead as we continue.
Yeah, and we're going into Tank Banshee again. This has been a trendy style ever since I Am Katowice. We've seen this from a lot of the Korean Terrans. I'm referring to Byun and Maru specifically. Again, these Banshees can do a surprising amount of damage in this matchup here. All it takes is 1 or 2 Banshees getting into a mineral line. If there's no detection, they can just eviscerate these probes.
And I don't see any detection yet from Trap. Observer is now out, but does it go across the map? It's going across the map.
Thankfully,
it's going across the map.
It is, but we have a safety shield battery, so the Banshee can't really do too much. We can maintain our workers. Meanwhile, across the map, Trap Blink is done, and we can go into the main.
Just like so. I'll try to reciprocate this damage, and Oliveira's in the middle of the map. He is going to take damage.
Oh, yeah, damage is being done. We're going for a pseudo base trade here as Oliveira. He has to send it across the map, bearing in mind that Trap can always recall.
Yeah, he does still have that available to him. Oliveira's starting to lose his SCVs. If he wasn't all in before, he wasn't all in, just for the record, but now he's kind of forced all in.
Yeah, so much damage is being done. The tank does siege up. We have 2 tanks here on the front lines. The third base is denied. We focused on the medevac. No more sustain with the army, but we do shut down at least that shield battery. Immortal does pop out just in time.
Yeah, but we'll see if it can actually get on top of these tanks as it is supposed to. Couple more Warpins coming in from the back line. Stalkers in the front line do get dealt with, so yeah, things are... The options here for Trap are shortening up.
Yeah,
fewer options.
We take down the gateway, which is important. We're down to 3 gates. Bear that in mind. Ooh, big tank volleys going off on those Stalkers. Shield batteries are going down, and Oliveira is gaining ground. Behind this, Oliveira actually has the worker lead with mules. He is recovering, and he's pushing forward towards that natural.
Like so. Yeah, Trap now maneuvering with the Warp Prism, trying to see if he can get on top of these tanks, how well he can juggle, but this Viking has other plans.
Yeah, we can see Trap trying to catch reinforcements with the tanks that within range. They're shutting down the Prism. They're shutting down the Immortals. 1 Immortal goes down. There's only 1 Immortal left. We try to come in for the surround, but Oliveira, he's ready for this. It looks like 1 tank is going to fall, but it's going to cost us every single Stalker.
Oh no, the tanks get reset and the Immortals do survive. It's only the Banshees and the Marines that are remaining here. I mean, still a very hefty loss here for Trap, but he can still try to hold.
He can hold. The Viking does land. We're down to 4 Stalkers and we just barely do warp in. Boys are being pulled. Workers are going down. Do we have... Okay, we do have detection. The Banshee will can be dealt with, but we're getting damage done.
Now, when it's all said and done, Trap will survive, but this was a much, much, much better trade for Oliveira.
Oh yeah, Trap, he lost gateways, he lost all the Immortals, he lost his third base, and Oliveira behind this, he's up in workers, we have tanks, we have bunkers, we have upgrades on the way. Oliveira is looking strong.
But you know what, how that saying goes, when behind, try to catch back up.
There you go.
Via a Dark Shrine.
Dark Shrine is on the way. We do have another move out. As long as we have some scans available, we should be okay. But the shout to Trap, he does delay the push, distracts the main army, and will escape with all of his Stalkers.
Yeah, he's buying himself a lot of time to get defenses up and running. A couple defensive DTs. I mean, it's not the worst idea to have.
Yeah, DTs can make or break a fight, especially if there are no scans available. For the time being, looks like we have 1 scan for each base, so 2 scans for Oliveira. As long as he doesn't mule, we should be okay. Meanwhile, we're just trying to set up here. We have Force Fields, Immortal, Shield Batteries getting ready. DTs are soon to be warped in. Dark Shrine about to finish.
Yeah, we'll see if that pays off. 1 scan already being utilized, so another scan. Only 1 more scan is available here for Oliveira. Oliveira going for a 2-base all-in is going to be enough. GG. Oliveira takes game number 2, forces us into the ace match.
Whew. GG, well played. Oliveira in the midst of that chaotic game, the chaotic almost base trade essentially. He was able to pull it off, win across the map, was able to preserve his tanks, able to gain ground and just out trade Trap. Didn't kill him with that push, but did do enough damage, did maim him, and set himself up to tap the series.
Just like so, GG, and now we're going into our ace match, which, to be on, I almost said Parasite. Site Delta. So we're going to be on.
It's a blast from the past, Fabi. Oh my god. It's been a while.
It's a good map. Yeah.
The other site is going to be on the way. A bit of a larger, more macro map here between Oliveira and Trap. But at least we got what we wanted. We got a solid series, a game 3 out of this.
Indeed, we are. Whew. And now we're going to conclude it all. This is, I think, the first series that we've had where we've had normal maps.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least all 3 of our games have been on normal maps.
Yeah, exactly. As, I mean, the games themselves have been quite dynamic and quite chaotic, and we'll see where this takes us. Quickly checking as well as a reminder, the winner of the series advances on to the grand finals, where I believe we have yet to determine our opponents.
Not quite yet. We do have confirmation it's going to be a Protoss player, as Classic did take out Gumiho 2-0, I believe. Yeah, 2-0. And so it's currently up against Estrella in those other semifinals. I believe Wardy's covering that, so yeah, twitch.tv/Wardy TV.
I think.
Is he on? Yeah. Wardy's channel. Just Google SC2 Wardy and you'll find it. Anyway, here we go. We're going to be concluding this semifinals, though. This best of 3 here on Parasite. And oh boy, it's been jam-packed. It's been very, very intense so far. And I can't imagine that things are going to slow down anymore here on Site Delta, where we're here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way. In the top left, we of course have our red Terran player coming out from the land of China. He is going to be representing Weibo Gaming. We have Oliveira.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the ex-military Protoss representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap. And am I crazy? Because as I'm saying ex-military, I think most of the players are now becoming ex-military. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nightmare is the only active Protoss in Korea that hasn't gone to the military. Right?
Nightmare and Creator.
Yeah, true. Creator. Yeah.
Oh, wait, did Nightmare? No, I think Nightmare did actually go. Wait. Or am I thinking of someone else?
I'm thinking of like Zaun, because like Zaun went to the military.
Zaun, that's... No, because I do remember that there was one Protoss player who went to the military at the end of Heart of Swarm, and then came back in like the 2nd or 3rd year of Legacy. It might have been Nightmare, but I don't think it was Nightmare.
Yeah. So, yeah, just... It's interesting kind of like tidbit there, where most of the Koreans nowadays, like they've already done this service, they're coming back, they're competing again, and... yeah, I remember a lot of people were a little bit concerned whether or not a lot of players would return, and that they are.
Yeah, a lot of them are, yeah. Some of them haven't, unfortunately.
The ones that matters have. But I get what you're saying. Patience, you know what?
Yeah. Oh, we don't know if it's out of the military.
True. We don't know. We'll get him back.
Yeah.
For now, it is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Trap once again, working towards Blink. So far, every game, it's been 2-gate Blink into a third, at least attempted third. Last game, it was denied, of course, and we had to go for an aggressive follow-up to make up for that. But outside of that, no kind of crazy, chaotic, aggressive build so far to Trap, at least in the PvT.
Not yet, anyway. Gonna be very centered builds coming out from both of our players this time. Just a straight up 1-1 from Oliveira and a Blink opening coming out from Trap. And we did see Trap utilize the Blink opening a bit more aggressively on Alcyone, going for that forward Blink. But yeah, unfortunately, as much as he was able to get damage done, he had more damage done to him with the counterattack. Or not quite counterattack, but the base trade from Oliveira.
Yeah, and you may have been onto something, by the way. I just quickly double-checked. Apparently, Nightmare did do his military service. So it's already done.
Oh, there we go.
Apparently, he went, like, right at the launch of Legacy. Basically.
There we go,
Like,
yeah.
Legacy launch, and then he did his military. So, yeah. Sorry, I did kind of slip by me there. So, just because I guess it's been so long. So, yeah, he's already done as well.
Yeah, doesn't have to worry about that anymore. So the only active Protoss player left, I think, is Creator.
Yeah, there you go. Or you know, as for now, we are going to be moving out with our drop play. Once again, we see it here for the second time this series, going for the Widowmine drop. Okay.
I like this. Oliveira, he may have redeemed it once, but, you know, he just went to a different outlet, and now he's redeeming it again.
Yeah, I mean, he lost the game, so he's got to do it again. You gotta.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Exactly.
He turned in his Widowmine coupon, but you know, the terms weren't met, so they gave him another one.
Get rejected, but now once again we're poised to go into the natural. Just gonna be biding our time here. Meanwhile, across the map, we're gonna be going for a Raven follow-up. Interesting, investing into Interference Matrix.
Which, now that I think about it, I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet from Oliveira. This is a very standard play in TVP.
Yeah, I mean, Raven openers used to be the meta, especially last year, right? Especially when Phoenix Colossus was all the rage, you know, going for Ravens to shut down the Colossus, to go for these big pushes and big timings, but the meta has since shifted, and yeah, we've kind of gotten away from it a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting less Ravens, but we're getting more Marauders, so yeah, I support that.
There you go. As we do blink into main base, the army is somewhat in position. We do have to be careful to overextend with the Raven, as the auto target is going to be thrown down, locking down those Stalkers.
Oh, but we have Blink. Quite a lot of damage can still be done here. Meanwhile, ooh. Looks like the Widowmine did get a few too many workers. A lot more workers than I think Trap was expecting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where really Oliveira didn't make the distraction. Trap did, as he distracted himself with this aggression. The Observer is going to be shut down. These Stalkers have been trading very, very nicely here, but as you mentioned, it is going to be kind of rendered moot as both players bleed out probes.
Like so. Trap does have a high enough worker count, I think, that he might be able to counteract Oliveira's mules. And of course, he's got 3 Nexuses, which is the major thing. He can rebuild a lot quicker. So, yeah, when it's all said and done, it was better for Oliveira because it was a mine drop. But as the game goes on, it's going to be better for Trap.
Yeah, as we do snipe the tank. Tank was that exposed bunker, likewise unattended as well. And Trap is getting quite a lot done here. Getting a tank, getting a bunker, containing Oliveira. And Oliveira, he's going to be stuck at home at least until Sim does finish.
Yeah, very strong start coming out here from Oliveira, especially since coming out from Trap here, my mistake. Especially since Oliveira is banking everything, or is banking a lot on being able to hit this timing push. So Trap has pretty much created the strongest possible defense for himself, in the sense that he's created possibly the weakest possible push here from Oliveira.
Yeah, exactly, as Trap has gotten so much done with so little, and with this going to be forced to recall back home. Oliveira is moving out, and Oliveira is committed. Remember, he does have that disable available with the Raven, and we pull the boys because we're completely all in.
Okay, I changed my stance. Oliveira's our favored.
You're like,
No way he loses this now.
You're like, he's doing it, Papi. Let's go. So the counterattack is going to eviscerate the economy, but I mean, we barely have an economy to begin with as we're sending everything across the map. The SCVs have been spotted. And what do we have back at home? We have +1, a charge, no splash damage, but we have overcharge.
Yeah, we do have overcharge. We have force field potential as well. The tanks are looking mighty exposed. One of them will go down. Anti-armor missile does land right in the heart of the Protoss army, and Trap is forced to retreat back into the high ground. He completely gives up this natural base position, but as the bio moves out, the tank gets exposed, and Trap is able to take it out once again. But did he lose too much to get him?
That's the thing. He lost every single stalker in the process. He got a tank, but wasn't worth it. At the same time, the third base getting annihilated, every single probe going down, and now we're going straight for the natural. Another anti-armor missile.
Yeah, coating the majority of this army. If Trap can somehow survive, he isn't going to be in a winning position, but that's a pretty massive if.
Yeah, as we focus on every single stalker we pick up, we have 2 medics full of units. We do escape, and Trap is barely holding on. He does have double the worker count. We have to keep pushing, and the Liberators have arrived.
Yeah, he has to give it up this third base, but he can't afford to give it up for now, as Oliveira is very, very, very all in. Does Trap have enough to reinforce, though? He barely has a bank. He is warping in a couple of zealots. He needs to be very careful with his stalkers. It's his only anti-air against these Liberators.
Yeah, Liberation has arrived. We zone the army away. Massive shots going off. Stalker's going to be going down. There's no shield. We get another Immortal.
We do get another Immortal, but we also get a force field, completely splitting the bio army in half. And I think Oliveira's just about done it.
Yeah, I think so as well. With the arrival of the reinforcements, we shut down the Immortals. We break through the defensive line. GG gets called, and Oliveira will take the series 2-1.
Whew, okay, GG. Very nicely done here from Oliveira. Good games coming out from Trap as well. I think that was probably the most intense series we've casted in a while.
Yeah, it was
at least the most intense TVP.
Yeah, it was very intense, very back and forth here. We got a little bit of everything. We got a longer macro game in game 1. We had more intense back and forth in game 2 and game 3, and it did go the distance. That was a clutch. Oh, that was an almost clutch defense there by Trap. But as you mentioned, I do think a big moment where momentum swung in favor of Oliveira was when Trap dove on the tanks, and when he lost every single stalker, like suddenly his army was almost non-existent, and yeah, it wasn't quite worth it in the end there for Trap.
That it was not. I mean, it's always tempting, right? You want to break the backbone of your opponent's army, but sometimes to get there, you have to go through a lot of hoops. You have to go through a lot of meat and fat that ends up killing you in the process.
And with that, GG, well played. Oliveira does advance on to the grand finals, and we'll see who he faces off against. It's going to be another TVP, but whether it's an American Protoss or a Korean Protoss, yet to be determined.
That it has. I just realized now that the remaining 3 players are all going to be in Esports World Cup. So
true.
Pretty neat to see that, despite that event coming up, our players are still playing in these online cups, not really hiding too much of their practice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're using it for practice there, so pretty important matches and tournaments ahead of us here in the lead up to the Esports World Cup. And when it comes to that lower semifinals, let's head on over. !Be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket and the progression of our players.
Indeed, we shall. Really good. Yeah, honestly, we don't know the result yet of those semifinals, but so far it's been a really good showing for Australia. Taking out Rogue, taking out Lancer, who's been very active in ESL Open Cups. And I was gonna say in a time zone that might not be great for him, but I believe Australia might be in either China or Korea right now. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I know that Australia...
I do know that he was planning to travel to this side of the world.
Yeah, I know that Australia and Trigger, I think they were planning to travel and hang out and practice and stuff like that. I don't have exact details, but it is very possible that Australia is spending some time abroad in preparation for EWC.
Yeah, it's very possible. A lot of players are coming over to the Asia region for practice and whatnot. We did get confirmation last week that Scarlet is now in Chengdu.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately,
They're all
not.
just getting used to ping or
Yeah,
time zone.
unfortunately not here this week for this week's ESL Asia, but was here
Yeah.
last week. Was of course competing, and we do have confirmation as
Oh.
well. If you want to check out Australia versus Classic, they're currently on Wardy's channel, and Australia is leading the series 1-0.
Indeed, he is, and we also have some confirmation from chat that apparently Australia is in Korea.
Ah, there you go.
There we go. Not sure if Trigger is in Korea yet, but he will be pretty soon.
There you go. But yeah, with that, we are going to be settling in. Australia's up in the series, and we could even see an Australia Oliveira finals, which would be wild. No Korean player.
Yeah, I think the last time that happened was like 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. Was Oliveira versus Scarlet back when Oliveira was still called Time.
There you go. It's been a while. It has been a while. But for now, we are going to be getting ready for this. So we will either be jumping in mid-series into Australia versus Classic. We might jump into the ace match, or we could just go straight for the finals.
Yeah, it all depends here. Australia, you gonna bring it home? Is it coming home?
We'll see.
We'll see. Apparently there were soccer matches the past couple of weeks. So
okay, there you go.
that's where that's coming from.
But I guess for the time being, we are going to be going on a short.
Oh, out of game.
Oh, okay.
Or at least Classic is out of game.
Yeah, it looks like they are getting out of game, and we might have an ace match here. As I did see Australia looking at the replay, and yep, we have an ace match.
Here we go. Gonna fish that one up.
Okay, so we're going to be getting ready here for the ace match. It all ends here. We will have one Protoss for the finals, but we might want to I want to leave this party.
Oh, okay. We're making a new party.
I'd love to make a new one here. But yeah, regardless, we're going to have one Protoss play in the finals. Will it be Australia? Will it be Classic? Ooh, it comes down to this final game.
Yeah. We're gonna have a TVP finals, but which P is gonna face a T?
Oh, yeah. As I remember, Kurishi's confirming that they're in Korea, and that Trigger was posting pictures. I remember it was posting pictures of Australia trying to use chopsticks.
That's what it was. Oh, I assumed they were just. For some reason, I just assumed they were in Canada when I saw that. I did not look at the greater context.
Shaking my head. I was getting some Yaku flashbacks with those chopsticks, mate. Which means clearly he knows how to use them. Clearly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use them with both hands.
We have our lobby, and once again, Oceanborn.
Oceanborn, take me by the horn when we go to mourn.
See, it's had someone asking if you've done your military service. There is mandatory military service in Singapore, true, but you're above that.
Exactly.
It's all good, Pappy. It's all good.
Yeah. As we're going to be jumping in to the conclusion of our best of 3 PvP semifinals. We're going to finish it off here on Oceanborn. Over here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left, we of course have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He is of course going to be representing his team Twisted Minds. We have Classic.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Match Arena Esports. It is Australia. Oh, wait, sorry, Virtus Pro. Why? Mate,
It's still Maturino in
fix
Korea.
up your clan.
SMH my head, Max.
God damn it.
Shaking my head, Max.
So hasn't been on Maturino for a very long time. Is on Virtus Pro.
Indeed, he is. Picked up by Virtus, which is, you know, when I think of Virtus Pro, I usually think of kind of the CIS region, Eastern Europe and whatnot. They have a lot of historic roots there in Counter-Strike and whatnot. So yeah, interesting that they did decide to pick up a StarCraft player and did decide to pick up Astrea specifically.
Oh yeah, I mean he is confirmed for EWC, so he was a hot pickup, a value pickup if you will. So Astrea, of course, going to be repping well and preparing for his EWC run.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Astrea is pretty much the best player from the Americas region, so he was a very hot pickup. He was a huge fish that I think a lot of these teams that wanted to pick up the EWC bonus were kind of eyeing. I imagine that Virtus went with Astrea because Spirit was already on Navi.
True.
Yeah, it's very rare that we see Virtus Pro pick up players from outside their region. Is just a thing.
Yeah. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate the support that Astrea is
definitely
getting. And we'll see where this takes us. Now, we did miss out on Game 1 and Game 2 of this series, so we're not really too aware of what did occur. If you're maybe a little bit more privy to that, then let us know in the chat as to what happened in the previous games. We are at least here for the finale. We're here for the climax. And so far, 2 gate openers all around. Astrea is going to be taking his expansion a little bit later here. Classic already going for his own Nexus.
Yeah. Which means that he's going to lose.
Yeah, basically Classic, he went for a single sentry opener. He went for a single unit into a faster Nexus, so a very greedy build here by Classic. Astrea going for his own Nexus at a standard timing, but he's just playing this out safely here. He's just chilling back at home, just relying on some probe scouting and eventually hallucination as well, so we're just kind of easing our way into this PvP.
Yeah, Astrea going for the Classic NA, Classic going for the greedy NA.
So we do move out. So back at home, we have our tech of choice. Going to be a Twilight Council from both players. So we are mirroring each other for the time being, working towards Blink.
Yep. Very standard stuff. We weren't privy to game number 1 and game number 2, but yeah, I have to imagine that similar things did occur. Astrea throwing down that proxy pylon. We're about to see a gateway.
Yeah, I'm curious how we make use of this. For now, just going to be reinforcing on the front lines. We're going to have 4 Stalkers in total, as opposed to the 1 of Classic. But we have a shield battery, we have an overcharge, we have force fields. Classic does have the tools to defend. We'll see if we can pull it off, though. We'll see if Astrea can maybe catch some units, even going for some fake Stalkers as well.
Yeah, I love to see it. No shield battery in position just yet, but we do have a lot of sentries before Blink did finish up, so yeah, Astrea actually going to be losing one of his own sentries. Yeah, shield battery does finish up in time.
Does beat out 1 sentry. Meanwhile, force fields are still available for both players. Astrea trying to drag the army out of position to force field them off and to pick off whatever he can. But alas, it looks like Classic is holding well. Nice hold position micro so far. It does not get baited out and will hold.
Yeah, and now Astrea has come up with a plan B. He's going to be chilling outside of this natural base, going to try to contain Classic for as long as possible, but Astrea has to make a decision pretty soon. Does he go for the third base while he knows that he will have the lead, or does he just double down?
We'll see if he does a double down. For now, Force is going to be thrown down. We do just decide to collide here, and Classic, he is going to be able to push through a little bit further. I say that is going to be forced back and punished by the CranKy.
And the surround with the Zella as well. I think Astrea traded a little bit better, but is starting to run out of steam here. Yeah, the reinforcements of Classic will be able to chase this away.
Yeah, in the end, it was Astrea losing 4 Stalkers for 3 Stalkers of Classic. Classic does out-trade him a little bit more.
Oh no!
Towards the end, and the third base is being taken. Classic going to chase this down.
Yeah, Classic going to chase and shut this down, and he even, as you pointed out, he even gets the third base quicker than Astrea. Classic's just miles ahead in pretty much every metric.
Yeah, he shuts down the main army, he expands, takes the third base. Back at home, Astrea, his blink finished 10 seconds later, and that did actually impact the game, as Classic was able to make use of his blink. Astrea just now finishing up, and Astrea is on the back foot.
Like so. Classic with Zone Blink finishing up a lot quicker is now going to make use of it. This third is even less defensible than Classic's natural earlier on.
Yeah, as we can try to focus on the stall, because we do have an offensive Immortal. Thankfully, Shield Battery does finish up in time, and with the help of the Immortal, Astrea should be able to hold on. But, of course, both players are building up towards that next step. We have Forges on the way, +1. Charge already in production here for Classic. He's taking up towards Charge Lots already. Slightly faster, but Astrea is not too far behind it.
Yeah. That's all said and done. Classic definitely has the advantage, but this is very greedy. Classic throwing off the shackles of NA.
Yeah, let's go as we take an insanely fast fourth base before the third was even done, by the way. So essentially double expanding. Classic, I mean, when you're ahead, may as well just get even further ahead.
Why the hell not? I mean, he knows he has map control. He knows that he is way up ahead in army supply, so might as well.
Yeah, as he picks up 4 more workers, is going to be able to blink back. Did lose the Observer, so it wasn't for free, but 4 workers is just a good trade nonetheless here for Classic. And Astrea is just pinned and stuck back at home, at least until he can get into his own upgrades. Until then, Astrea is our defender.
And it will be for quite some time. 7 more gateways finishing up here from Classic. Also getting the Templar Archives. Charge is going to finish up a lot quicker than Charge for Astrea. How do we, as Astrea, bounce back from this?
I mean, we got options, right? As Astrea's now taking his own fourth, but right, we can try to work towards Dark Templar, rush into Disruptors. We can try to pick a Classic apart with something like Adeptaras, right? With like 2 Adepts shading into mineral lines. Like, there are ways to try to bounce back economically, but the pressure is on Astrea to make those moves happen.
Yeah, we'll see what he opts for in the end, as... Yeah, so far he is just focusing on his macro, which I guess I can't really blame him too much for that. He hasn't really been able to get into the swing of things yet in this game. He hasn't been able to fully saturate his bases just yet, but the time is starting to run out. Classic is going to look to push and go for a very powerful +1 timing here with Archons, with Charge, with everything.
Yeah, Hallucination confirms that the fourth base is already saturated, so Astrea now knows how far behind he is. He didn't know that, of course, Classic had taken a fast fourth earlier, and now he does confirm, and yeah, Astrea, he just knows he's in a rough position. There we go, we have a line of shield batteries on the way. Astrea, he knows he's in trouble, and here comes Classic with a massive supply lead.
He's up 50 army supply, and 50 supply in general.
Yeah.
He's up 50 supply, and all of it is an army.
Yeah. That's a massive wave of zealots. There is one Archon. That one Archon has a lot of work to do here, as Classic has how many zealots? 29 zealots, almost 30 zealots here for Classic.
That's why I think Archons should have stim.
Oh my god. You're an adam.
As the zealots do charge forward.
Oh,
and he will sort of away the rest of Astrea's army. Yeah, the whole positioning working out really well. A lot of these zealots actually getting taken out.
Yeah, I'm loving the whole position micro here out of Classic. He will be able to shut down the base. He preserves most of his zealots. They all do survive. And Classic systematically is pushing forward here. Overcharge is popped, but it's about to run out.
Yeah, a little bit of a premature pop here in the battery overcharge. And yeah, now that that's out, Classic, he's just warping another wave of zealots. And he's going for the throat.
Yeah, exactly. We can either force our way up the ramp or just rotate around instead. We'll see what we go for now. Just picking up a Zealot as well. Just containing Astrea to these 3 bases. And Classic, he's about to max out.
Yeah, Astrea far from that. Even supply blocked for a quick second there.
Even does get supply blocked. We can see Classic rotate over towards the high ground. Astrea forced to expand elsewhere, but here comes the main army, and how do we stop this tide of Protoss from Classic?
There's battery overcharge, but which we don't have.
We do not have it. We're getting on top of the main army. There we go. We do have another overcharge just now coming off of cooldown. With that, Astrea, he can hold the line. Classic will respect it. He does back up, at least with the Zealots. But again, just taking it slow and steady here. Classic still out-trading Astrea.
Yeah, he doesn't want to dive too deep. He doesn't want to fight within range of those shield batteries. Especially against 3 Archons like that, which really benefit the most from shield batteries.
Yeah, we can see Astrea trying to come in from behind. He's going for the Prism, and the Prism will survive. It barely lives.
Somehow, my god. And with the survival of that War Prism, I mean, Classic doesn't even need it at this point, as he's just collapsing on everything else. GG is called, and Classic Going to be taking that series 2-1, going into the finals to face Oliveira. GG, that was a very convincing win here from Classic. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see the full series here. I feel like, we were kind of shortchanged. We know that Estrella took game number 1, but I can't imagine that game was anything like this one.
Yeah, exactly. This was a pretty clear cut here where Classic took an early lead and he just capitalized it so hard. He just snowballed out of control, rushing to that fourth base because of the fast fourth. Better saturation meant a much faster max out as well with purely Zealots, making full use of all those minerals. We had almost 30 Zealots, more than double the Zealot count of Australia. It was insane. And even though Archons can do well against them, we saw that Classic was so meticulous with his Zealot control and made sure that he never overextended with them. He was so careful with how he was engaging.
Yeah, it's very easy at that point. When you know that you're ahead, when you know that you're maxed out and your opponent is far from that, to just move in and suddenly lose all of your Zealots to a volley of Archons. But Classic, I feel like he didn't have to micro that, but the fact that he did just really put him from winning to winning convincingly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just really solid play there out of Classic, and with that, GG, well played. We have our 2 finalists. It's going to be Oliveira versus Classic in a best of 5 at TVP.
Oh boy, here we go. Classic, another one of those historically very strong PvT players. So it's possible that we see something similar coming out from Trap. I feel like games that Classic will win here won't necessarily be similar to what we saw from Trap versus Oliveira, where Trap pretty much won on the back of counterattacks and Killer Instinct. We might see one of those coming out here if we do see that in the event of a Classic victory, but I feel like Classic is going to be much more focused on just hitting his timings as opposed to relying on counterattacks.
Oh yeah, exactly. And with that, we have our final 2 players here, the final series of the night. It's going to be one final best of 5, and all the vetoes are already done.
Oh, very quick, very fast. And we're still going to take a couple of seconds off here as to get all of our casters in.
Yep. We have,
okay, we're all in. Never mind.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, we do have you here as it all ends in this final TVP. We've seen Classic pop off in weeks past. For those that are curious, in the absence of Hero in this, especially lead up to EWC, Classic has been our reigning champion week after week, and again, we'll see if he can be stopped.
Indeed, we shall. Players are ready. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. I was a little slow on that, never mind.
Yeah, I was just quickly trying to double check, because like Wikipedia is like lagging for me a little bit. It's like it's struggling, Pappy. It's struggling for me. So I was just trying to confirm here because I know Classic he won last week, and okay, it wasn't the before. Classic actually he didn't play 2 weeks ago, so he's our reigning champion, at least our reigning champion from last week.
And there we go. And we'll see if he can continue like Rain, or if he is more of a Zest. Anyway, here we are now, kicking off our best of 5 grand finals, where we're here on Oceanborn, where over here in the top left corner map, starting all the way in the top left, we of course have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He's of course going to be representing Twisted Minds, our reigning ESL Open Cup Asia, and I believe KSL as well, champion. We have Classic.
And And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is Oliveira. Oliveira having a very intense series earlier with Trap. That semifinals match is definitely something to live up to. So there's a lot of expectations here between these two players, but Classic has a very different approach than Trap does in this matchup, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like Trap is a little bit more, well, usually I would say Trap is a little bit more of a defensive player. He is kind of on that stats axis in the Protoss alignment chart, but he did show off a lot of aggressive plays in his series against Oliveira. He went for that offensive blink, that aggressive blink in Alcyone. He did do something similar in Site Delta and then waited for the counterattack. Wasn't quite able to hold there, but even still, that's kind of Trap's style. Classic, on the other hand, is not that deep in. He's a bit more neutral, I would say. Maybe a little bit more on the Zest side of the alignment, where he has a lot of variety and he has a lot of timings that he... a variety of different timings in the early game, the mid-game, some in the late game, to just try to cripple his opponent's economy at the very least.
Yeah, and we'll see what we go for this time, because both players are doing some interesting builds. For the first time today, it is not a Twilight Council, it's a Stargate opener out of Classic, so Stargate, I imagine, into Phoenixes. We'll see if he goes Oracle instead, and something more aggressive. Meanwhile, from the side of Oliveira, we have not just one, we have two, we have three Raxes.
Okay. Very different from what we saw when he was up against Trap. And this is a bit more of a committed 3 Rax as well.
Here we go, as it is going to be that 3 Rax here from Oliveira, building up towards Stim, and it is going to be an Oracle first. So, winding it back a little bit here, 3 Raxes are ideal against Stargate openers, just because Phoenixes and Oracles, they can struggle against Mass Bio and Mass Marine, so this is already looking a little bit better for Oliveira. Reaper goes in, and Oliveira does confirm the tech of choice.
Yeah, heaving a sigh of relief. I'm sure he's glad that he's up against the Stargate coming his way. We'll keep our eye on Classic's production tab to see how much he commits to these Oracles. I think it's pretty standard to go 2 even in PBT.
Yeah, the first Oracle is about 12 pounds. Bearing in mind that Oliveira, he also confirmed the Oracle as well, the Oracle coming out. So Oliveira, he's going to be amassing Marines and getting ready for that Oracle aggression. Likewise, going to be Oracle into Phoenix. And again, I'm getting more and more concerned for Classic here when it comes to how much and what he will have to defend against the Bio Army.
Exactly. He doesn't know.
Not yet. The Oracle will give him that valuable information. We do see Oliveira's ready at the natural. The main base is more exposed though, and Classic, he will be heading in between the bases. We'll find some SCVs, but not too much.
Yeah, I mean, delays the factory, so that's pretty nice. He's able to take out a couple of Marines, takes out another SCV, and will he keep it alive? He will keep his Oracle alive, so yeah, not too bad. The most important thing here, the most valuable thing here for Classic, of course, is that he scouted a 3 Rax, so immediately he halts Stargate production. He starts Immortal production.
Yeah, I mean, we need Immortals, right? Like, right now, in this current game state, we need as much of an army as possible. The first Immortal is on the way. That will help. We have a Shield Battery in production as well. 2 Shield Batteries even. Again, we need as much as we can here to hold on against that Bio Army.
Indeed, we do. I was a little worried when I saw the 3rd Nexus on the way, but I think the math checks out. I think it should finish in time by the time the push comes down, and of course that will mean that these shield batteries will have overcharge on them as well.
And what's interesting is that because of this Oracle, because it's still alive, Oliveira's actually stuck at home. Stim is done, he misses his timing, he would have already been across the map, and he has to wait a little bit longer until he's secure, and there we go. Now we're pushing out as turrets are thrown down.
Indeed, he is. No stasis wards on the map right now here for Classic. He feels that he doesn't need to rely on them.
Yeah, meanwhile, Oracle does slip in, gets 1 more SCV, but isn't going to get much more than that. The Oracle will barely escape, but we're focusing across the map. Here we go, Oliveira moving in with how much? With 22 Marines, 2 Marauders, and can we break this setup of shield batteries?
Well, we're going to have to try, at the very least. Classic keeping tabs on this army with these 2 Phoenixes.
Yeah, it does keep tabs, and Oliveira waiting for reinforcements. Medivacs are on the way. With all these Medivacs, we can sustain our push a little bit longer. We can also try to drop into the main, but Classic is defending quite well. I mean, taking this very seriously.
He's putting this out very, very patient. He already has his setup up and running with all the shield batteries and whatnot. Colossus, the first Colossus is going to be out, and that's going to make it a lot trickier for Oliveira to try to push into this.
Yeah, with the arrival of the first Colossus, we defend. Classic, he has held Oliveira. If he wanted to hit the timing, he has missed it, and it looks like we're setting up for a longer game. We have a third CC on the way, on location. Oliveira is going to be working on that next step.
That is one Oracle. It's the absolute MVP in this game.
It really is. The Oracle did so much, just scouting and, of course, just keeping Oliveira at bay. And with that, Classic, he holds. He takes advantage of his third base, working towards a fourth as well, and the game will continue.
Indeed it shall. Oracle still bobbing around. He knows it's not his job. It's just having fun now. It's retiring in a circle.
Here we go. So yeah, we do rotate, we do deny the fourth base. We have our bio army, of course, just keeping tabs here on a Classic, just maintaining map control more than anything while we're building up. Our Viking production has begun. At the same time, Classic building up towards further splash damage, has Colossus, and now working towards Storm with that Templar Archives.
Yeah, Classic about to hit his final form here in PvT. Oliveira, though, he is ramping up to get to the stage of the game where he really does thrive. Where the mid game, where he can just go and be active on the map, deny a fourth base over and over and over again, like so, and just try to starve out his Protoss opponents. Classic will be in a position where he can try to break out from this pretty soon once he gets a couple of High Templar up and running, but until then, he is in quite a precarious position economically.
Yeah, Classic, he wants to expand, desperately needs to. Storm is now on the way. We have a Prism poised to get across the map. Oliveira is still just trying to threaten the fourth, and with this Marine Scout, we'll confirm that it is being taken on the right-hand side.
Like so.
And you can see Oliveira immediately responded to that expansion. Meanwhile, in the main base, we do have 2 Widow Mines, but the Prism does avoid the main. Up!
And instead, we will be going for the third base. The Vikings take out the Warp Prism.
That's a lot of Vikings.
Nicely done. It's a lot, yeah. But we will see the double drop getting pushed back.
Yeah, that's 11 Vikings here for Oliveira. I mean, thankfully, it's not just about the Colossus, it's about the Phoenixes as well as the Warp Prism. So the Vikings, they have their role to play in this TVP. Meanwhile, we do push forward. Stasis Trap, ooh, still not connecting.
SMH ahead.
Oh my god.
It still doesn't.
Still does not. Vikings, they push on forward. Massive EMP on the army. Overcharge is going to be popped, but we cannot save the first Colossus.
No, we cannot, but we can save the other one, and we can push back the ground army. More and more Stalkers being warped in to take out the Vikings that are in the sky. Massive warp in on the other side of the map.
Yes,
Classic going to lose this fourth base again, but this army has to fight.
Yeah, we do kind well against a Colossus. Colossus does go down. Vikings, they do their job, but we save the expansion. SCVs are going down across the map. Worker damage is being dealt, and Classic is forcing this back.
We saved the expansion?
Yeah.
We saved the expansion. Oh, wow.
The base survives. 18 SCVs go down across the map, and a Classic, he takes a nice economic lead. On top of that, replacing those Colossus. Storm is done. We have plenty of High Templar, and Classic, he holds.
Wow. Okay, maybe Classic is more in that stats axis.
He can do both, Pop. He's crazy.
Yeah. He's neutral.
There you go. He does
True neutral.
I mean, Oliveira still has a decent army size. Like, he has a decent force to work with all these Vikings, and with the bio army, of course, as well. But he is being outscaled as once again another Zealot Rabbi is poised to dive in.
Yeah, poised, but not quite jumping on it just yet. The initial Zealot dives in. Scout said there's not a whole lot here, so he has to keep his eyes on other parts of the map, namely this natural base.
Yes, Classic is out of position. The natural base is going to be going down. Very nice pick off Robo as well. Oliveira, he is still in this. Has to respect the main army as it does rotate over, and Oliveira's going to have to try to get out of here. So far, massive EMP.
Yeah, not quite connecting with the High Templar, though. We do have Storms that will chase back the Bio army, but the damage has already been dealt. Natural base has already gone down, and the Colossus is so battered and bruised.
It really is. Classic going for a massive counterattack. The Zealot Runby did nothing across the map. Oliveira fighting back here, has the high ground, does maintain the ramp. Classic still has plenty of storms, but yeah, is still just consolidating his army, still unable to break through. EMPs! Oh!
And EMPs will land on every single one of these High Templar. We have one storm getting thrown down, but that is not going to be enough to stem the tide of Oliveira.
That's massive. That was 7 High Templar, and every single one got EMP'd, and now there's no more storms. There's barely any splash damage.
Yeah, we see a desperate bid to morph them into Archons now and replace them with a couple of new High Templars. So Oliveira, he's getting back in this game. He has not quite been able to deny the 4-base economy from Classic, but he himself is keeping up very, very well with 4 bases of his own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got mules, he's got his SCVs, like he has a comparable economy here to Classic, especially with the death of that natural base. Meanwhile, Classic pushing out once again. He does have some storms behind this, not as many as he once did, and the main army is spotted by Oliveira.
We'll see if he can nail those EMPs again, because if he can, this is going to be pretty done. One EMP lands on one High Templar, and the rest of them will get EMP'd as well, but not before the storms land. Oliveira kind of sitting in the storms, and is this going to be too much for him?
I mean, those were insane storms. I mean, so much bio did go down. The Stork is a little bit distracted, so Classic's main army is fragmented. Oliveira can still take a fight, does land the Vikings. Up with the Concave.
Yeah, but the Concave is too good. The bio was overstimmed. GG is called. Classic takes game number 1.
GG, well played. That was a brutal storm, by the way. As you pointed out, the storm was juicy, and we stood in the storm as well. That was like a good third, if not more, of the bio army done then and there for Oliveira, and Lassie just didn't have enough to keep up and to hold on against the rest of the Protoss.
That he could not. Whew. And with that, yeah, Classic takes the lead in the series, up 1-0 in the best of 5. I still can't get over the fact that he saved his 4th when it was being battered down by all those stimmed Marauders, but he did.
He did somehow save that 4th base, and with that, GG, well played. Classic. He survives the aggression of Oliveira, and he does end up counterattacking and snowballing out of control. That was still a very close game, though, and I want to believe that we can have a back and forth here.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that we will be seeing a lot more of a back and forth. I wouldn't be more surprised if this was... I would be more surprised if we didn't get the ace match than if we did.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be shocked if this was a 3-0. I'm hoping that we can get a series out of this. For now, we're going to be loading into Game 2. It's going to be loading into Site Delta.
Indeed, we are normal maps coming back. So we had our fill on Amphion and Dynasty. But regardless, we are going to be continuing our best of 5 grand finals now on Site Delta. Over here in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right, we of course have our blue Protoss player up 1-0 in this best of 5 grand finals. He is, of course, going to be representing his team, Twisted Minds. A fitting team. A very fitting team for this player. He is Classic.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, going for a proxy across the map, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is Oliveira.
Well, I was going to say, if you recall the last time Oliveira was on Site Delta, we did see him go for that 2-base all-in, where he pulled the boys, and it worked out really well for him, but this time he has something a little bit different planned.
Yeah, we'll see as we do have our proxy being set up. It is pretty primed for a proxy Reaper, I imagine. We could try to spice things up even further. If this was Gumiho, I'd be like, yo, we can like land into the main and go for the proxy Marauder. But that's merely a Gumiho trait. I don't really think Oliveira's want to do so. Otherwise, the racks will be closer to the main base.
Yeah. Could be a proxy tank.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this SCV to see if we do go for the factory follow-up as well. We'll keep an eye on him. For now, the Reaper is in production. If this was a standard proxy Reaper, then this SCV should be going in for, say, a bunker behind the mineral line, so the Reaper could get even more damage done. For now, though, the SCV is kind of being kept back.
Yeah, we're waiting to see.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say then we go to factory, but no, that's being built back at home.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like this is chilling here for a starport eventually. As we get the tech lab.
It's a one-way soul in. It's a one-way soul in here from Oliveira. Okay, so factories that back at home, tech lab for Marauder production. I'm curious if we're going into a starport for proxy medevac for a drop into the main. We'll see how this all comes together as Marauder production has begun.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, you say Marauder production, I say swap the add-ons around for BCs, but it is just gonna be proxy Marauders and landed Marauders by the looks of things.
Yeah, factory is now done, so we're waiting for the starport. There it is, starport is on the way, and this should be for a medevacs for a Hellion drop into the main. 3 Hellions, 1-shot probes, and if they line up, Hellions can eviscerate a mineral line, so we'll see how this all does come together. As Oliveira has again, nothing back at home, no expansion, just all in.
Yeah, we'll see if Classic can scout this in time. Here's a question. You mentioned Gumiho does this a lot. Classic played against Gumiho in the quarterfinals.
True.
You think Gumiho did this?
No.
Oh,
this specifically, okay. No, but like you're not wrong in the sense that Classic was able to keep up with the unorthodox nature of Gumiho, and because of that is, I'm sure, prepared for whatever is coming his way. But this is a wild one here. Here come the medevacs for the drop play. Hellions are amassing in the center of the map, and Classic still has not seen much at all. Classic has not even checked the natural.
I would make the slight difference to what you said. I think Classic is prepared for whatever he thinks is coming his way. I'm not sure if this specifically is on his mind. Classic going to throw down a forward pylon over there. A little bit of scouting, and potentially, if the game continues, he can try to get a proxy over there and counter proxy, but we'll see. That's a pretty big if.
Hellions are scouted, and our goal here is to catch the Stalkers. If we can catch the Stalkers, we can end the game, and here we go. The Rollers, they dive in!
They will completely box these Stalkers into a corner. They will get taken out, and now things are looking pretty hopeless for Classic.
Yeah, he has a full wall of no shield battery, no overcharge. The wall is about to be broken by the Marauders. Boys are being pulled in a moment of desperation. The wall, that's a kill, not a cancel, and we're breaking in.
Like so.
Yeah, more Stalkers have arrived, but again, the Marauders are doing so well against these Stalkers. There is no blink, there is no support. The Stalkers are falling one after the other. There's 2 Stalkers left.
And this is game.
Yeah, there's 1 Stalker remaining. It's going to be focused down. GG gets called, and Oliveira will fight back and tie up the series a 1-1.
GG. What a quick one. Classic, so passive throughout this game. Never scouting once on his opponent. I think he might have assumed that there was a proxy coming his way after he... No, I was gonna say I think he might have assumed that was a proxy coming his way after he saw the factory, but he didn't see the factory.
Yeah,
he never even checked the natural.
Yeah, he never saw the natural base. That's why he was going for the proxy across the map, and by the time he realized what was going on, it was too little too late. So Oliveira punishing the greed there of Classical, punishing just the lack of scouting, the lack of checking, and with that, we're tied up 1-1.
We are tied up 1-1. Not quite an ace match, as this is a best of 5, but pretty close.
Oh yeah, it is pretty close, and with that, we're going to be settling into game number 3. Who will take a lead in the series?
I will.
Take the lead, Pappy.
Oh. No. Alrighty then. We are going to be continuing our series now on El Guione, over here in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right. We have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. We have the Chintoss himself, going to be representing Twisted Minds. He is Classic.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. Oh, wait, let's go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, about to be proxied himself. Representing Weibo Gaming, it is Oliveira.
So two things. One, Classic is just like, mate, I wanted to proxy you in that last game. I didn't get to. I'm going to proxy. I will have my proxy regardless. But also, two, do you think that after that last loss, Classic had some deja vu in his head where he's like, I thought Hero was gone. I thought I didn't have to ape it up, but now Hero's teammate is keeping that alive a little bit.
I feel like Oliveira has opened the
switch,
door.
The Classic's brain.
Yeah, he's opened a door, and he said
Pandora's
that
box.
Exactly, like anything is on the table here, you know. And Classic's like, okay, you want to play like that, Papi? You want to cheese? You want to ape it up? Let's go. It's gonna be a proxy 2-gate across the map. Very aggressive opener here by Classic, going to be able to reinforce with initially Zealots, followed by Adepts as the Cyber Core is on the way. So this is going to slowly ramp up here for Classic, and ideally we would be seeing an expansion, and it looks like we will be seeing one. It is a single gas opener, so Oliveira's going for the CC on the low ground. This CC is going to be vulnerable.
Yeah, we'll see if he can hold it. Opts for the reactor after the initial Marine, so it's going to be pretty tough to say the least.
Yeah, as we will only have the single unit to defend with these two Zealots. We can, of course, take advantage of Oliveira. For now, there we go. Stalkers are on the way. Not Adepts, going for the Stalker follow-up, chronoing them out as we speak, and it's going to be close. The CC, it's still not halfway done, and here comes a Classic.
Moving here with these Zealots. This is all going to come down to how well Oliveira can micro his SCV specifically. Classic actually not quite going for it just yet, waiting for his Stalkers to come in.
Yeah, there we go. The Stalkers have arrived, and now we will deny the expansion. The goal here is to force a cancel. If we can force a cancel, we can expand back at home and focus on the next step. The Marine already going to be targeted down. SCV will fall. Marine goes down as well. We have 2 Marines left with the bunker. It's not going to finish.
Not at all. This is a full wall that we've gotten out here. That was a kill on the bunker, not a cancel. And yet only 2 Marines left. Cyclone is on the way, but it's still quite a ways off. Supply depot will fall!
Yeah, that's a kill.
And that's supply blocking Oliveira.
Yeah, massive supply block here on Oliveira. We do have the Cyclone on the way, thankfully, but more reinforcements are on the way. Classic doesn't just cancel the base, he's going for the kill. He's going for the threat at this point, going for another depot, further supply blocking Oliveira.
GG is called, and Classic, I hope he's satiated after that proxy, because if not, we're going to be getting into a very dark game number 4.
Telling you, Papi, I'm telling you. The gloves are off, the pants are down. We're about to get down and dirty here between these two players. Proxy into proxy, and now it's got to be Oliveira's turn, right?
You think they're just going to take turns proxying, or do you think they're just going to proxy each other in game 4? Because I feel Pandora's box has been opened. We can no longer contain it. The ape is out.
Let's go.
And especially because we're going into post-youth for game number 4. Here we go.
Post-youth here for game 4. A very, very unique map. Does have its own features, of course, with the in-base natural. On top of that, there's also the goal bases you can take advantage of. On top of that, there's also some pretty prime proxy locations towards the edges of the map as well. We'll see how we approach this. We'll see what kind of clannery we have.
You say clownery. I feel like it would be fitting for post-youth to be the map where our players. This would be a pretty weird way of describing it, but become civilized, so to speak. They become more gentlemanly.
Are you saying that they got it out of their system? You know, they both just cheese and now they're done. You know, they're like,
exactly.
Okay, now we can calm down and now we can play out a game.
Exactly. They got it out, so yeah, now they don't have to anymore. But I say that, but I see a probe moving across the map immediately, so we'll see as we spawn into post-youth, where we're here at the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right, but also going for around the map a little bit. We have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea, currently on match point in this best of 5 grand finals. He is, of course, going to be representing Twisted Minds. We have Classic Chatsik.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player from the land of China, representing Weibo Gaming. It is Oliveira. Looking to fight back, looking to force that ace match. It looks like it's going to be an economic opener out of our Terran player. It's going to be a Rax Expand, to be expected on a map like Post Youth, and the Classic does not go for any kind of crazy proxy. He scouts across the map for good reason. If you remember, we didn't even scout on side Delta, so Classic just making sure that everything's on the up and up.
Yeah, especially on Post Youth. Well, I say that, but Post Youth is a bit of a quirky map, but it's not really a map that lends itself particularly well to proxies or like early game aggression. It's more of a cheesy map in the sense of economic cheese, where you obviously both players are going to have this hybrid gold in their main, but at the same time, we see it very commonly to go for the proper gold base very early on, and just try to outscale your opponent as quickly as possible.
Yeah, this is one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool, but because it's a best of 5, we have limited vetoes, right? We have limited vetoes available, so we're able to embrace the TVP on Post Youth, something that we don't often get to see, so I'm excited when it comes to how Classic approaches this. In the past, when it comes to maps with gold bases, Protoss players are typically the players that are able to get map control and take advantage of the gold a lot easier. I'm brought back to Royal Blood, for example, and some of these other maps a couple of seasons ago where
Blood. I remember that.
Yeah, where like
even
Hero and Max Packs,
Albione.
yeah, they would just take the gold bases as quickly as possible.
Indeed, but it looks like Classic is not vying for that just yet. I mean, with the way Protoss expands on this map, it feels pretty much inevitable. If we do get into a mid game, Classic is most likely going to be eyeing that gold as his 4th base, but we'll see if we get there.
We shall see. As for now, we're settling in. We are getting our bases up and running. It's going to be a 1-1-1 follow-up here out of Oliveira. Looks like he's going to be setting up for a drop as well. This looks like a Widowmine into a Cyclone, but we'll see if we make additional Widowmines. Meanwhile, across the map, the Reaper also scouting, and will confirm the tech of choice, not a Twilight Council.
Yeah, going to be a Stargate coming out here from Classic, so again, pretty standard things. Gets the Reaper right at the end there. I feel your pain, Oliveira. You think it's safe, but it's just 1 pixel within range of the Adept.
Yeah, the Reaper does get shut down. Meanwhile, it's going to be first Widowmine into a second Widowmine. Okay, so we have a Mine Drop set up here from Oliveira. At the same time, though, there are Phoenixes amassing from Classic, and this looks like the beginnings of, as you mentioned, a bit of a more prim and proper setup here for Phoenix Colossus for a macro game.
Yeah, a more gentlemanly TVP. A more civilized game.
Yeah.
Or a more elegant game for a more civilized map.
There you go. So with that, Classic is preparing for what looks to be Phoenix Colossus. If you remember, if Classic ever does get his third base up and running and works towards a 4th, with this kind of setup, we are also primed to rush into Sky Toss, which Classic is one to do if given the freedom to do so.
Yeah, we'll see if we do get to that point. This drop has been completely missed by the Phoenix of Classic.
It has been missed. The Widowmines are kept back at home. The Widowmines actually staying here in the mineral lines to shut down any kind of harassment. At the same time, the drop moving out across the map is spotted as well.
I just realized there are 2 Ewoks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're on the ground.
There are 2 on the ground?
Yeah.
There are 2 on the ground. I was pointing out to the above the goal. There's 1, and then there's 2.
Yeah.
One of them playing drums.
I mean, they're both kind of playing drums, yeah.
Bashing. Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, hey, we said it before. They went full Return of the Jedi and they brought down the Banshee, mate. They
did.
I don't know how they did, but they did.
And then they ate the Banshee pilot.
Oh god. Calm down. Meanwhile, the Observer does hold the move. Gonna be a little bit committed here. 5 SCVs are pulled with this push. We have 2 tanks. We have our Widowmines. We have quite a setup here, and Classic is aware, is getting ready.
Indeed, he is. He did go for the earlier Robo base, so he will be getting his Colossus out, which absolutely has potential to just shut down this push. He also has his Phoenixes, which can absolutely shut down the tanks. The tank will get taken out while it's sieging up. And Oliveira only has one tank to really work with. That's still alright, but definitely not ideal.
Yeah, Overcharge going to be popped. Oh, Mind Shot does connect, but here comes that Colossus. And as you mentioned, with the power of the Colossus, we can force back the army. Liberator has arrived. The tank does siege, but out of range of the shield batteries.
Yeah, the Liberator has arrived, but we have Phoenixes in the air.
And we do
this
have
Viking has a lot of heavy lifting to do.
Yeah, at the same time, Oliveira dropping into the main, catching Classic out of position. Phoenixes will try to catch reinforcements to do go for the unsiege, and we do deny mining at least in the main.
He's going to be coming back home. Phoenix had tried to deny this medevac, but hot drop, or cold drop. It's the opposite of the hot pickup.
Yeah, bearing in mind
Marines will chase us down.
Yeah, there is no stim. So without stim, we shut down the medevac. We're going for the Liberator as well, and Oliveira is bleeding out quite a bit here. Does have his tank sieged up, and Classic does not take the bait. Classic backs off.
Like so. When it's all said and done, that drop, that push didn't actually do anything, really. It killed a Immortal, I believe? No, it killed one probe and 3 adepts. I swear I thought a pylon or something went down at the very least in this, but no, it did not. This is a very strong start for Classic.
Oh yeah, Classic, he's looking pretty solid here. He's on a 3 weeks economy. He's got Colossus out as well. Oliveira may have to just go for an all-in. We'll see over the next couple of seconds if we throw down a third CC. If we don't see a third, then we may as well just pull the boys and send it across the map. Classic is in the midst of all this, taking up 4th base while Oliveira's still on 2 bases, and he pulls the boys.
Huge risk, but we'll see if it pays off for him here. Classic does not have eyes on the army. Oh, now he will, though. Now he will.
The Observer saw the move out as well, so the Phoenixes, they dive in, they catch reinforcements. Classic's getting ready. I would hope that Classic cancels the 4th base. This 4th is so greedy, and I don't think we can save it. For now, it is still on the way, and the army is not stopping. We're pushing in.
Indeed, we are. Yeah, I think this 4th base is going to have to be forfeit, but everything else apart from this 4th is just so solid right now for Classic.
Yeah.
We do cancel that 4th, and now, yeah, things are looking pretty good for Classic.
Yeah, we throw down a line of turrets. They're not going to finish. The turret's going to be shut down. Tanks do siege. Charge is not yet done, by the way. We still have to wait a couple of seconds before that can really kick in. Phoenix is still catching reinforcements. And Oliveira, what you see is what you get. He has to end the game with this army.
He does. He's being very patient with his push, and he is on a bit of a timer, but I definitely appreciate it. He's not just sending everything forward, not just stimming in.
Yeah, he's not just aping on forward here, slowly encroaching with turrets, with these bunkers as well. Shield batteries are being knocked down as we speak. We knocked down 2 shield batteries, not too bad, but we have 3 Colossus, and Charge is now done. We even have a Disruptor. Oh.
We'll see if it can... Oh, it does get a tank. We don't have Storm just yet, but High Templar did get morphed in, and now we have a couple of Archons to soak up a couple of shots from these tanks.
Yeah, and we collapse on forward. We pop the overcharge. 1 Colossus is going to be going down, but down falls that Liberator. We get on top of the tanks, and the tanks, they're falling one after the other.
GGW is called, and Classic is going to defend his title, is going to be taking that series 3-1, becoming an ESL Open Cup Asia number 236 champion. That was a brutal final game.
GG, well played. Classic, he was able to shut down the initial push, get into his own soon-to-be 4-base setup, and what was important, more importantly really for Classic, about both move-outs from Oliveira is Classic saw everything. He saw everything with the Observer and with his Phoenixes. He saw the first push and the second push as well that allowed him to be ready with shield batteries, with his army, with his overcharge, with his Phoenixes. He saw everything he needed to.
Yeah, he really learned his lesson after Sight Delta.
True.
Which really, it could have been a 3-0, which, to be honest, this 3-1 is still pretty surprising to me, but it could have been a 3-0 if Classic just scouted on Sight Delta.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, could have been.
Classic's in form, and he's in shape.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why he is our back-to-back champion last week and this week as well. Classic, he is primed and ready for EWC.
Absolutely, and I mean, I get the feeling that Classic is really, really extra focused on EWC as well, just because it does seem like he underperformed in the last 2 Premier tournaments that he was in. DreamHack Dallas, obviously, he was knocked out before the playoffs by Oliveira, I believe it was. And of course, unfortunately wasn't able to qualify for GSL Season 2 either. So, yeah, after all of that, Classic has just had so much time to just prepare entirely on the World Championship. And I'm not gonna lie, like, a couple of people have been posting their tier lists, and Classic was kind of in the B or the A, where it's like, yeah, he could win, but he's not going to be, but he's by no means a favorite going into it when you have players like Maru, like Serral, and like Dark going into it. After tonight's showing, I think he's going to have to be bumped up a tier.
Man, who are these people with these tier lists with Classic as B? What? So, yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, Classic, he's an amazing player, and he is primed to make a deep run, as he did even in the previous Gamers 8 last year, if you remember. Like, Classic, he even outperformed Hero in Gamers 8.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was the highest performing Protoss player at that tournament. So, yeah, I do look forward to his showcase in EWC. I will say that even though we haven't seen Hero for the past couple of weeks, he's been cooking, he's been busy, and
he's a wild card.
Yeah, I do think that Hero, I do rate him a little bit higher, but like Classic is still, you know, the number 2 Protoss in Korea and one of the best, if not arguably like top 3 Protoss in the world. So, yeah, Classic is definitely one to keep an eye out for, and look forward to at Esports World Cup.
Absolutely. He got really close the last time he was in the last time people kind of were underestimating him. I'm thinking of course, BlizzCon 2019, where they looked at the bracket and they looked at the opponents and they thought, well, there's no way Classic is going to beat Rogue. And then he did.
Yeah. There you go.
Didn't quite win, didn't quite make it all the way to the finals, but you know, outperformed a lot of expectations, which is just Classic in a nutshell, right? Just somebody who, when eyes are on him, he underperforms, but when everybody's counting him out, he overperforms massively.
Yeah, always doing the unexpected. And with that, GG, well played. Of course, he's this week's ESL Open Cup Asia champion. And we'll see if that reign continues week after week after week. So far, 2 weeks in a row. We'll keep an eye on Classic. Meanwhile, shout out to Oliveira for making it to the top 2. A shout out to Trap earlier today. I don't want to, you know, don't want to gloss over him, but Trap, he popped off earlier with his PVZ, taking down Shin and Dark. Like, you don't get much better than that.
2-0, mind you.
Yeah. There's even a world out there where he takes down Oliveira. Like the Oliveira series, if you remember, that was maybe the highlight of the night. Yeah, like Classic was looking dominant here, but when it comes to like back and forth, like Trap versus Oliveira, like that was some peak StarCraft.
Oh yeah, especially that game number 1, where Trap just clutched out victory from the jaws of defeat. Game number 2 was a little bit rough, but then game number 3 was also very, very close. Did go Oliveira's favor in the end there, but yeah, that was a very impressive showing that we've had tonight from Trap. I'm sure Gemini out there, he is smiling, he's beaming ear to ear, and he doesn't even know why.
Yeah, he's a happy boy. He's Gemini, he's on cloud 9 right now, and yeah, if you're a Trap fan out there, I mean, things looking good. Things definitely do bode well for Trap in his return from the military. But with that, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. That does wrap up our broadcast for the evening. And yeah, if you want some more StarCraft, we're going to be back tomorrow with ESL Open Cup Americas. That is going to be in 12 hours time, so we got you covered there. And likewise, Yaku, thank you so much for joining me here tonight.
Yeah, it was a pretty good tournament. A pretty short one, actually. Just about approaching 3.5 hours, which is shorter than it normally is, but
yeah.
What can you do? Very smooth process. I guess is what we had.
Exactly. From one into the other. Very little downtime between our matches, and again, we barely even had to wait for Australia versus Classic to finish up as well, and. Yeah, with that, again, it's just a really good kind of way to get a read on the state of play for all these players coming into the Esports World Cup. Is quite important to kind of get a gauge for how they're looking, and yeah, we'll keep an eye on them even more in the upcoming weeks.
Indeed, we shall. Oh boy.
With that, Yaku, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the night?
I do.
Oh.
I want to throw out a massive funara to Australian internet for depriving us of Light's chest this week.
Yeah, for those who are unaware, the cameras aren't on right now because frames are dropping. I don't know what it is. There's an issue that I have right now where if I ever have cams on in Discord, like my OBS like crashes a little bit and it struggles. So yeah, I don't know why. It's weird. It's fine when I'm solo casting, but it's not fine when I'm with you, Yaku. It might be routing related.
Am I the problem?
Yeah.
Am I disrupting it? Oh.
It might be routing related
I bring
on the Discord server. I don't know. Something I have to look into it. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with Discord.
Oh. It's just EMP that I bring.
True. But with that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. You can follow us on all the social medias: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. Follow us if you want to be notified when we go live. Likewise, you can support us on Patreon. And a big shout out to Sirius Black in the chat for resubscribing. Resubscribing on Twitch for 4 months. Gracias, papi. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the casting. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. And again, Patreon is the place to be if you want to support us even further monetarily when it comes to our tournaments. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for ESL Americas.
Indeed, we shall. See you then.
See you then.